Hello, everyone. Can you hear me and see me okay? This is our new live stream link for our Thursday afternoon projects. So, oops, to find the link. I had a YouTube window open from when I was getting the link for this. Okay, so we're all good now. Can you hear me okay? I want to make sure that technically everything is good before I give away our prizes. Today we are giving away a bunch of this during our lunch and learn. We have a copy of our sublimation cookbook, a copy of our HTV cookbook, a Barely Art glue set, a Cricut Maker 3, a Design Magic SVG and sublimation. Here, let me show you. This is from my guest teacher, Jamila Payne, and it is Design Magic SVG and sublimation file design for beginners and cut file cleanup by Corey George. And Faux La La, which is an event by Amy Romeo. So we have lots of prizes to give away. Getting feedback from somewhere? Does anyone else hear feedback? Is it just one person? If you're hearing feedback, you probably have two windows open. So that you know. That's usually how it works, at least with me, is I actually have another video going on. So are we okay? Sound okay? All right, I'm going to start picking prizes because we start our workshops again. Yep, you had an extra window open. That's totally happens all the time to me. All right, we're going to start our next workshop in embroidery hoop ornaments at the top of the hour. But let's do our giveaways. Okay, so, and things are grouped into bundles, and so we have 4 winners. Let's do our sublimation cookbook bundle. Our sublimation cookbook is the print and the digital copy. So the print copy is awesome because you get it all printed out and it's all ready to go. Super awesome. These are available on Amazon if you're not a winner. But having the digital copy means that you get all the updates. Because we can't update a print book, but we can update a digital book. And the digital edition always comes with free updates. All right, so the winner of our sublimation cookbook bundle is, I have a little giveaway thing. Let's do it real quick. All right, and the winner is Patricia Jones. Congratulations, Patricia. We'll send you an email with details, and you have won both the print and digital copy of the sublimation cookbook. Awesome prize. You're going to love it. Okay, that's that bundle. Next is a set, and it is our Barely Art glue set. By the way, this is a special edition that has the Jennifer Maker. Oh, sorry, I forgot how it's open. It's got the Jennifer Maker. What's the word I'm looking for? Oops, that was open a little bit. The label on it. It's the Jennifer Maker limited edition label. They made a little label just for us with little sunflowers and a little Jenny on it. So this, you can't even buy this bottle. You can still buy this bottle with the label on it, I think, at jennifermaker.com/barelyart. I think that's the link. Someone in chat maybe share that in case anyone wants to know. So, okay, so the bundle has the glue set and the scholarship to Design Magic and the these two things. I'm not missing anything. Yes, these two things are in this bundle. Okay, so the winner of this bundle is Michelle Beck. Congratulations, Michelle. We'll contact you by email. Remember, we're never going to contact you in a PM or a direct message about winning a prize. Anyone who does so is trying to impersonate me. All right, our next prize is the HTV cookbook. This is our latest book. It's kind of like the sublimation cookbook, but it's for iron-on vinyl. So it has all of the times and temperatures for all the different combinations of vinyls and surfaces that we could think of, right? And it shows you exactly how to stack everything, how to prepare it, and then the different times based on which press you have. So this one, again, you can get on Amazon. And the bundle includes both the print edition and the digital edition, so you always get the updates. All right. And the winner of this prize is Lynn Bentley. Congratulations, Lynn. We'll contact you by email with your awesome HTV cookbook bundle. All righty. And then our big prize is for this Lunch and Learn, a Cricut Maker 3 cutting machine, the most awesome cutting machine, the flagship, I would call it. I think it's the flagship over the Venture just because it can do more than the Venture can do. The Venture can do bigger stuff, but the Maker still cuts more materials. And also a ticket to Faux La La, the event by Amy Romeo, and a scholarship to Cut File Cleanup, which is a course on how to clean up and organize your cut files, like your SVG files and stuff. Both awesome. All right. So, and thank you to our guest teachers for contributing these awesome prizes. All right. The winner of this bundle is Wendy Hutt. Congratulations, Wendy. The first 4 letters of your email address are WHIP. We will send you an email with the details and find out where to ship you your Cricut Maker 3 and how to get you your scholarships to the other things as well. That's awesome. I love giving things away. That's like one of my favorite things to do. Okay. So our next workshop is going to start at the top of the hour. So at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and it's roughly 12 minutes from now. I have you see me look over here. I have a big clock so I can try to stay on schedule. It's very important. Some people will show up just to watch a particular workshop. So always try to start on time. And it's going to be our really cool embroidery hoop ornaments. This project is both iron-on vinyl and infusible ink and sublimation, like prints. It is so many different ways to do this and so easy. You are going to love this one, and we have lots of really cute designs to share with you. You're going to love it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on our little timer again and a countdown so that we can make some space and bring out the project, and I can show you how to make the embroidery hoop ornaments. Thank you all for your kind comments, by the way, about the video, both videos. Thank you to our guest teachers for the wonderful Lunch and Learn. We're going to have 2 more Lunch and Learns, so we have lots more to share on that too. All right, so I'm going to put on our timer, and I will see you at the top of the hour. Hello everyone, Jennifer Maker here again. Let's learn how to make embroidery hoop ornaments. Not just one kind, but many different kinds. Look at how cute these are. We've got iron on vinyl, we've got infusible ink, and we have sublimation. So there is so many different ways to make these. They're so cute. Oh my gosh. This project involves some detailed cutting and finishing, but it's really very easy and it's so worth the time. Now you can find the complete supply list for this project at jennifermaker.com/523. But let me show you exactly what you need to make these super cool and super easy embroidery hoop ornaments. So I'm going to grab a tote from my dream box with all of our supplies in it. I really love this project and might be one of my very favorites because it's so nice and simple. If you are new to using iron-on vinyl or sublimation or infusible ink, this is really a wonderful project to begin with. All right, let's make a little space here. All right, there's a lot of, so don't be intimidated by all the different supplies. Remember, there's 3 different ways to make these, so let's keep that in mind. All right, so let's get some of these things out here. Material. Here's our finished things, our infusible ink, of course, our embroidery hoops, ribbon. You can use whatever ribbon you like, of course. All right, let's, and then our infusible ink itself, right? Set that over here. Some vinyl and some extra things here. Let's get everything out here. All right, so this project is actually, over here, is actually 3-in-1 because we're going to make one version with HTV, one version with infusible ink, and then our sublimation ornaments. I'll talk about each type separately so you have a better idea of what you need for each one, but there are some items that you'll need no matter which technique you use. Okay, so in fact, let's start there. The materials needed for all 3 projects are felt, because we put felt on the back, so just basic felt like this, and hot glue to cover the backs of the ornaments. Let me give you an example. So it's not just, it's an ornament, right? So it'll be on a tree or dangling from something, and you want to make sure the back looks good. You'll also want to have a lint roller to remove any dust or debris or pet hair from your fabric, a ruler, finger protectors because we're working with hot glue, and some ribbon or twine or something to hang the ornament when it's done. I've got some ribbon here and here, and you can use whatever you've got. Twine would be just fine as well. String is yarn, whatever. All right, now let's talk about the materials for the vinyl ornaments. The vinyl ornaments are these right here. So for these, you're going to want some kind of cotton, like, let me get these out here so you can see. So something like this, these cotton fabric squares, like these plaid options I have here. I've got this one with snowflakes. And here is like a flannel, very nice. And some iron-on vinyl, of course. I don't have my glitter here, but I do have my white. So you can use any iron-on vinyl. It needs to say like everyday iron-on it like this, but it could be glitter or something else too. And so you can use glitter, you can use plain white, iron-on, all of those things. And then a Cricut to cut out your vinyl. In the video, I'll be using the Cricut Maker 3, but you can also use the original Maker, any of the Explorers, a Cricut Venture, an original Cricut Joy, or the Cricut Joy Extra. This project is perfect for everybody. You'll want a green standard grip mat like you see here, a brayer, always useful, a scraper tool, and a weeding tool you'll also want as well. Here's what the weeding tool looks like if you're new to vinyl. And since we're weeding white vinyl, a Cricut Bright pad can really help see everything easier too, but that's optional. All right, and then materials for the infusible ink ornaments. And let me show you those. Okay. These are the infusible ink ornaments. They're just different colors. Aren't they cute? So cute. All right, so for these, you're going to want some white polyester fabric. Like, I have one here. Yes. This is 100% polyester fabric because with sublimation, which is what infusible ink is, polyester will give the most vibrant results. And then you'll need some infusible ink transfer sheets in red or buffalo plaid or teal or whatever colors you want. And then a Cricut to cut them. You cut these on the Cricut or another cutting machine. Again, I am using my Cricut Maker 3 to cut them, but you can use any of the machines, and you'll want a green standard grip machine mat again. And you will also need a heat press. So I have the Cricut Easy Press over here. Anything that gets hot enough for infusible ink / sublimation, so that means it has to get to about 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So a heat press, yes. An iron, no. So a heat press with a pressing mat, some white cardstock, white butcher paper, heat-resistant tape, scissors, a weeding tool, scissors, and a fan for ventilation. Always have a window open or ventilation when you do infusible ink or sublimation. Now that's a few more items than for the vinyl version, yes, but they look so cool. All right, now the materials and tools for the sublimation ornaments. Let's get those out again. These are so cute. Oh my gosh, I love these. We just take a moment to admire these. I have showed these before, but just look. So these are made with AI art, and they are made to look like embroidery, but they're not. They're just sublimation. So we have Happy Holidays. My favorite, For Fox's Sake. A little penguin that says waddle and chill. And a snowman that says let it snow. They're so cute. All right, so for these, you will need a sublimation printer. I have one here with compatible sublimation ink, sublimation paper, a heat press. The Easy Press will work just fine. And then the same things, a pressing mat, white cardstock, white butcher paper, and a fan for ventilation. And of course, we need our design files because all of these design files for everything you see here is free for everyone to download and use, like everything during Maker Academy weekend. So let me show you where to find the embroidery hoop ornament files and then how to use them to create your own very cute ornaments. Get my free embroidery hoop ornament designs. First, download my designs at jennifermaker.com/523. You can either download right from that link by saving the project or download from my entire free design collection. To find it, look for libraries in the red bar at the top, and then click either get a password if you don't yet have one, or click enter the library. Search the page for design number 523 and click the link to download the designs. I've included 6 SVG designs and 6 PNG designs for you to try. The SVG files include Jingle All the Way, Mistletoe Kisses, Mittens, a reindeer, Up to Snow Good, and an intricate snowflake. And the PNG designs include a fox, an owl, a penguin, a poinsettia bloom, a snowman, and a festive wreath. I'll show you how to use the SVG designs with iron-on vinyl or infusible ink transfer sheets, and then how to sublimate the PNG designs. Then we'll finish the ornaments with embroidery hoops. I'm using materials from this kit that includes 4-inch hoops and lots of cute accessories. Now for this workshop, I'm using the Cricut Maker 3, but you can also use an original Maker, Explore 3, Explorer Air 2, Explore, Venture, Joy, or the Joy Extra for this project. Basically, you can use any Cricut. Step 1, prepare your iron-on vinyl SVG design. Let's first do the iron-on vinyl designs. In a new Cricut Design Space canvas, upload the SVG of your choice. I'm going to make the mitten design. If you're not sure how to upload, just go to jennifermaker.com/SVGS to learn how to unzip and upload SVG files. The SVG files are sized to fit nicely inside a 4-inch embroidery hoop. If you want to use a different hoop, keep the lock icon closed and then resize the design as needed. If you choose to use a different size embroidery hoop, make sure to measure the available space inside your hoop and adjust your image sizes, being sure to leave a margin around your design. For example, a 5-inch embroidery hoop would look great with a 4-inch design. But we're going to stick to the original size. And then use the color box to change the design's color if you want. I'll make mine light orange to represent the gold vinyl. Step 2, cut your design from iron-on vinyl. Check that the right machine is selected and then click Make It. On the Prepare screen, make sure your design looks correct. And then, since we apply iron-on vinyl to cloth face down, be sure to click Mirror. And then click Continue. On the Make screen, we'll select our material. If it's not listed, click on Browse All Materials and type Glitter, and then select it. Then set the pressure to More to get a cleaner cut. Prepare your vinyl by placing it shiny side down on a green standard grip machine mat. And use a brayer to make sure the vinyl is stuck really well. Check that your fine point blade is clean and in the correct clamp. And then load the mat into your Cricut and press the flashing button to begin cutting. Once the cut is complete, unload your mat, flip the mat over onto your work surface, and bend the mat back to release the vinyl. For more information on cutting vinyl, check out my Cricut tips and tricks for cleaner cuts over at jennifermaker.com/blades. Now let's cut away the excess vinyl and save it so we can use it in a future project. Place the decal carrier sheet down on a machine mat to keep it still while it's weeding. And use your weeding tool to pick up and remove the largest unneeded vinyl area around the design. And then remove smaller unneeded pieces too. Now, if any design piece comes up during weeding, just pat them back into place with the weeding tool. Just make sure the dull surface stays face up or the piece won't adhere to the fabric later on. Step 3, apply iron-on vinyl to your fabric. Grab or cut a 6-inch square of cotton in a pattern or color that will look nice with the design. I'll use red plaid from the kit. The fabric will be easier to work with if you don't pre-wash it first. Preheat your press to 330 degrees Fahrenheit or 166 degrees Celsius with a time of 30 seconds. Place your square face up on a Cricut pressing pad. Press it with light pressure for 5 seconds first to remove wrinkles and moisture. It might shrink a bit, but that's okay. Now use a lint roller to remove any stray bits of dust or pet hair or threads. Lay your design shiny side up on the material, centering as best as possible on your square. The plastic backer protects the vinyl from the heat source, but you can add a small piece of butcher paper if you'd like. Lower the heat source over the vinyl and press it for 30 seconds with firm pressure. Once the time is up, put the press back in its cradle. Then let the liner cool to the touch. Once it's cool, carefully lift one corner of the liner to peel it off. If some vinyl comes up with the liner, you can replace the liner and press it again for a few seconds. And then wait until it cools again to try removing it again. Luckily, mine stayed put the first time. And there's your design. We'll put the embroidery hoop on once the others are done. Infusible ink transfer sheet design on polyester. Step 1. Prepare your infusible ink transfer sheets. Now, while infusible ink transfer sheets are actually a sublimation product, you can prepare the SVGs for them using the same steps that you used for iron-on vinyl. So upload the SVG that you want and add it to your canvas. I'm going to use the reindeer. This time we'll make a cutout image with ink surrounding the design instead of being inside of it. So click on the Shapes menu and pick a free circle. with the lock icon at the top closed, change the circle's width to be about 1.5 inches larger than that of your embroidery hoop. Right-click on the circle and choose Send to Back. Now select both the design and the circle, and then choose Align from the top menu and pick Center. At the bottom of the Layers panel, click on Slice. Then delete the slice results that you see in the Layers panel other than the circle with the design cut from its center. And then use the color box to change the color if you'd like. I'll use red. Step 2, cut your infusible ink transfer sheet. Check that the right machine is selected and then click Make It. Now, just like iron-on vinyl, Cricut infusible ink transfer sheet designs get applied face down, so turn on the mirror setting and then click Continue. On the Make screen, click Browse All Materials and search for Infusible. Choose Infusible Ink Transfer Sheet and click Done, and change the pressure to More. Now, moisture and skin oils can interfere with infusible ink, so wash and dry your hands well before you touch it. All right, so now place your infusible ink sheet ink side up on a green standard grip machine mat. I'm using the fun red and black plaid design here. Use a brayer to make sure the material is really secure to your mat, and then check that your fine point blade is clean and in the right clamp, and load your mat into your Cricut and press the flashing button to begin cutting. When it's done, unload your machine mat and flip your mat over onto your work surface and peel the mat back to release the infusible ink transfer sheet. Now cut away the excess material so there's only a little left around the ornament itself. You can save the rest for another project. Now, weeding infusible ink transfer sheets is a little different than iron-on vinyl. The way you want to do this is to carefully bend and roll the design until you hear a slight cracking sound. That's just the cut separating, and it's why we call this the cracking method. Don't worry if the design lifts off the liner a bit, it's really sturdy. Then remove the excess ink around the circle with your fingers or a pair of tweezers. To create the negative space design, be sure you lift away the inner cut pieces too. If a design piece lifts up, just pat it back in place, and with the right side face up, of course. You can get more tips about using Cricut infusible ink transfer sheets in my ceramic ornament project at jennifermaker.com/351. Step 3, apply your infusible ink transfer sheet to your polyester. So open a window in your room and turn on a fan to improve your ventilation while you're using infusible ink. Preheat your press to 385 degrees Fahrenheit or 195 degrees Celsius with a time of 60 seconds. Remember, a standard iron won't get hot enough for this project. You need to use a heat press. Cut a 6.5-inch square from the white polyester material. Lay a piece of white cardstock on the pressing pad to protect it from ink transfer, and then place your polyester square on top of it. Lightly press the material for 5 seconds to remove moisture and wrinkles, and then lint roll it to remove any lint or stray threads that might interfere with your transfer. Center the weeded design ink side down on the fabric. It should look correct since we mirrored it, right? And use heat-resistant tape to secure the liner to the fabric. Cover the project with some white uncoated butcher paper. You can use the paper from inside the Cricut infusible ink sheet box or from your stash. And then press the whole sandwich of materials for 60 seconds with firm pressure. Once the time is up, lift the press straight up to avoid shifting the design while it's still sublimating, as that can cause ghosting or blurry edges. Now let the project sit for a while to cool, and then remove the butchered paper, the tape, and the liner from the design. Project number 3, printed sublimation design on polyester. Step 1, get or prepare a sublimation design. I'm going to print my sublimation file using Cricut Design Space, but you can also use Google Docs following the steps over at jennifermaker.com/394. Now in a new Cricut Design Space canvas, click Upload and then select Upload Image. Next, click Browse and open your chosen PNG design. I'm going to use the penguin. On the preview page, select the complex option to preserve the colors and details, and then click Continue. The file already has a transparent background, so just click Apply and Continue. Now you'll see two images. On the left is the design's outline, and on the right is the print then cut version. Select the print then cut option and click Upload. Select the image in the recent uploads area and then click Add to Canvas. The design will appear larger than necessary on the canvas because PNG files are very detailed. Click Shapes and add a free circle to the canvas. Make sure the lock icon is closed, and then change the width of the circle to 4 inches or the correct measurement for your embroidery hoop. Now change the circle's operation to guide, which will be visible on the canvas but will not print or cut. Move the design inside the circle. Then, with the lock icon closed, click and drag in the image's corner to create a bit of white space all the way around it. I tried to allow at least 1/4 inch around the image. I chose to make my penguin 3 inches tall to fit nicely inside the 4-inch circle. Step 2, print and prepare the sublimation ornament design. So first check that the right machine is selected and then click Make It. The material size will show as 8.5 by 11 inches, so if you are using another size, be sure to adjust it. This ornament design will be sublimated face down, so also turn on the mirror setting. And then click Continue. On the Make screen, click Send to Printer. In the Printer Setup box, make sure your sublimation printer is selected and leave the Add Bleed setting turned off because we don't want the images to be printed with any extra ink around them when we're doing a sublimation project like this. But do toggle on the Use System Dialog setting and then click Print. And then you'll want to minimize the Cricut window to find the System Dialog box that will pop up behind it. Now your screen might look different than mine at this point, but the important things to do are to set the print quality to the highest quality available and change the paper to one similar to presentation paper matte. Don't flip the image or mirror it since we already asked Cricut Design Space to mirror it for us. Now make sure your sublimation paper is loaded correctly into your printer by checking the packaging and then click Print. Let the sheet dry for a few minutes to avoid any smudges. The print will have some black registration marks for Cricut's Print and Cut feature, but we won't need them. So instead, just gently tear away the extra paper around the design. Feathering the edges like this avoids indenting the fabric during the pressing process. Step 3, sublimate the ornament design. Remember, open a window in your room and turn on a fan to improve ventilation before sublimating. Preheat your heat press. I'm using an Easy Press 2, so my sublimation cookbook says to heat it to 385 degrees Fahrenheit or 195 degrees Celsius, and set the time for 40 seconds. Next, cut 6-inch squares from the white polyester material. Lay a piece of white cardstock on the Cricut pressing mat to protect it from ink transfer, and then place a square of polyester on the cardstock. Lightly press the material to preheat it for 10 seconds. Then lint roll the square to remove debris. Next, put the trimmed and feathered design ink side down over the center of the material and secure it with heat-resistant tape. Cover the material and sublimation paper with white butcher paper, and then press the whole sandwich of items for 40 seconds with light pressure. Once the time is up, carefully pull the press straight up and put it back in its cradle. Let the project set for about 10 seconds, then remove the butcher paper, tape, and sublimation paper from the fabric. Step 4, assemble the ornaments. You can assemble all 3 types of designs the same way. First, plug in your hot glue gun. Next, gather materials to assemble your ornament. You'll need an embroidery hoop, the design on your fabric, scissors, a marker, felt, greenery, bells, or decorations. I also recommend finger protectors and a piece of twine or ribbon so that you can hang your hoop. A Cricut Bright Pad can help center the image in the middle of the hoop, but that's totally optional. Loosen the bolt at the top of the embroidery hoop and remove the outer hoop from the smaller inner one. Now use your marker to trace the smaller hoop's outer edge on felt. It's okay if the marker touches the hoop. You won't see it once the ornament is assembled. And then cut out the felt circle and set it aside for now. Set the inside hoop down onto a hard surface. Drape the material with the design face up over the center. Be sure to center the design. This is important. If you have any trouble, place the hoop and the material on the Cricut Bright Pad. The light from the Bright Pad will shine through the material, making it easier to see that the design is in the hoop center and straight and looks good. When you have the design where you'd like it, hold the outer loop with the bolt at the design's top. Carefully open the outer hoop just enough to slide down around the inner hoop, dropping the material in between them. Now carefully hold the assembled hoop together while tightening the bolt at the top of the clamp to keep the hoop shut. Then turn the hoop over and trim the material so just 1/4 of an inch sticks out from the hoops. Now put on your finger protectors and place a bit of hot glue on the smaller hoop's inside surface and press the excess material down to secure it. Smooth the fabric down as much as possible so the surface is flat. You don't want any bumps. Work in small sections to secure the material all the way around the hoop. Then place a bit of glue on the inner hoop's fabric-covered edge. Don't get too close to the outer edge. The glue could squish out and become visible. Center the felt circle on the inner hoop with the unmarked side facing up. Press an edge of the circle into the hot glue. Work your way around the hoop in small sections until the circle is adhered and the back looks finished. Flip the ornament back over and decorate the top with pieces of greenery, ribbons, bells, or any other items you like. You can use hot glue, or if they include wire, just wrap it around the bolt posts. Finish the ornament off with ribbon and twine looped through the bolt for hanging, and it is complete. Step 5, show them off. You can decorate your walls, holiday displays, or gifts with your ornaments. They make great presents for others too. Aren't these just the cutest? Here's the one that we made. If your Christmas time is anything like mine, it's go, go, go all the time. But you can pre-make a bunch of these embroidery hoop ornaments for your friends, family, quick neighbor gifts, and then you are prepared with a super cute little gift. You can even attach them to stockings or wrap presents for a fun little addition. If you can't get enough of sublimating ornaments, because they are addictive once you get going for sure, I actually have a ceramic sublimation ornament tutorial that you might like. It's over at jennifermaker.com/410. But these are just adorable, I think. All right, and they're just so easy and so fun and easy to make. All right, so I see that we have questions. I'm going to jump into the questions. Feel free to ask me anything. I cannot wait to see you make all of these. All right, so I'm going to scroll up to my list. My awesome team is collecting questions for me. All right, Julia says, can you cut felt with the Cricut Extra? You should be able to as long as it's bonded, but I don't think that you're going to find a material setting for it. And I haven't actually tried it myself, right? I think that you could, but it's not like one of the material settings. So you can experiment with it, but keep in mind cutting felt with a mat is very messy, very, very messy. It'll basically kind of ruin your mat. That's why we're just showing you how to cut these with a scissors. It's just a circle, but you can usually cut them felt with a Cricut. You might want to use less fuzzy felt if you do it. Cricut actually makes some felt that is really stiff, so that might be ideal for something like this if you want to use your Joy. Sarah says, does the infusible ink require a heat press? Yes, indeed. Both infusible ink and sublimation ornaments require a heat press. I have my Cricut Easy Press over here. You could also use a clamshell press. You could use the Cricut Auto Press, the HTV Ron Auto Press, whatever. It just needs to get to the right temperature. So you cannot use a household iron, but you do want a heat press. And so that's true of infusible ink and sublimation ink. And then, of course, iron-on vinyl can use a heat press, but its temperature does not have to, like you can get away with just iron-on vinyl, or sorry, a household iron for the iron-on vinyl. Does that make sense? So the iron-on vinyl doesn't have to be heated quite so hot, so a regular iron will work, but infusible ink and sublimation ink does need to go higher than most household irons will get. Becky says, what do the transfer sheets do for infusible ink? So transfer sheets are a way to do sublimation without having an actual sublimation printer. That is the easiest way to think about them. So if you are really curious about sublimation and you want to give this a try, you love the idea of being able to transfer ink into something, and that ink is not going to peel or fade or crack over time the way that iron-on vinyl will, then you might want to try infusible ink first. And then if you like it, you can get yourself a printer, right? You can do that. So that's the benefit of it. So it's basically a pre-printed sublimation sheet. So this is the red one, right? So what it looks like, it's essentially a piece of paper that's been pre-printed with sublimation ink. So all you have to do is cut it out on a Cricut. I have another example here. This one is it's already been transferred, but you can kind of see it right through here. So that's basically what it is. So you know. So it's up to you. Or if you just want to make all the cute little designs and transfer them, then you go for a sublimation printer. And there I have many tutorials on how to set up a sublimation printer and actually do sublimation. Cynthia says, do you prefer the A-Sub 125 gram for pretty much all sublimation projects? I have 120 gram at the moment. I've got my papers over here so that we're talking about the same thing. I don't have my A-Sub paper here, but so in my opinion, first of all, I do really like A-Sub sublimation paper. I think that 125 gram and the 120 gram are very similar. I did a test. I couldn't see any difference between those two. Keep using 120 gram. If it's working for you, you should keep using it. Do I always use those weights? No. Sometimes I go down to 105 grams when I want to do things where there's like a bleed, or sorry, not a bleed, where there's like I'm joining two edges and there's a little overlap like on tumblers. But generally speaking, my go-to for sublimation paper is indeed 125 gram, but 120 gram is also just fine. Julie says, I don't have a sublimation ink printer. Can I do these another way? Yes, you can use infusible ink sheets. If you wanted to, you could use infusible ink pens and draw some designs. But then, that's just you drawing. So you can totally do that, but I don't have a design for you unless you want to trace one of my designs. But if you don't have a printer, then you want to use infusible ink transfer sheets. Kimberly says, so the mini press would work too. Yes, the mini press will indeed work for all of these projects. It gets hot enough for infusible ink and sublimation, and it's small enough that it would be fine for everything. So iron-on vinyl, infusible ink, and sublimation ink. Now with the infusible ink, you might see a little inconsistent coloring because especially with something like a solid, because you'll have to move your Easy Press around. It's smaller. You'll have to be constantly moving it to heat it, but it still probably does a pretty good job. I've done some tests with sublimation and my Easy Press, and it did pretty good. Nancy says, do you use more pressure on everything? Is there a reason or just a preference? I like clean cuts. I don't like having to mess with it. And I have found that if I increase my pressure just a little bit more than is necessary, then I get cleaner cuts. So that's why I always tell you to change your pressure to more as well. It's just, I don't know, I think of it as insurance for a better cut. It doesn't really hurt my mat. So, and I'm more like, if I have to err on the side of, you know, more pressure or less, I'm always going to go for more. So yes, I almost always do more pressure. Not always. And of course, your machine might vary too. Sally says, can brown butcher paper be used instead of white? I do not recommend brown because sometimes brown butcher paper is dyed rather than just like a natural color, and then that dye can get transferred to your project. So I really recommend white uncoated butcher paper for your infusible ink and sublimation projects. Florutopia says, can I use parchment paper instead of butcher paper? I don't recommend it. If you've been using it and it's working, go for it. That doesn't matter. But technically speaking, parchment paper usually has a coating on it, and that coating can trap moisture. Butcher paper, on the other hand, does not usually have any coating on it, and it does a much better job of allowing moisture to pass through it, so you're not trapping moisture into your project. If you have moisture in your project, and this comment applies to infusible ink and sublimation, it can cause blurring and weirdness. So you don't want moisture. Moisture and sublimation don't mix. For the second design with the infusible ink, can we fit 4 to a page? I don't know for sure. It would depend, I think, a bit on your hoop size, right? If you're going to use the 4-inch hoops, I think that would work. I think that you could get 4 in there, yes. If you go bigger, then no. If you go smaller, then definitely. So yeah, I think you get 4 to a page. Load it up and try and let us know. Jolene says, does it matter what type of printer you use? Can you use an inkjet printer? If you're going to do a sublimation project, like I am with our cute little embroidery ornaments, then you're going to want to use a printer that is set up for sublimation. If you are new to sublimation but really curious about how this works, go to jennifermaker.com/sublimation for beginners. There's like dashes in between there. So sublimation-for-beginners. It will tell you everything you need to know about sublimation, what kind of printer to use. You know, you can either buy a dedicated sublimation printer that's purpose-built, or you can do what I've done here and gotten an inexpensive Epson EcoTank, specifically an Epson EcoTank, and I have filled it with sublimation ink. But definitely read my guides, watch my videos before, because there are only certain printers that you can do that with. Joyce asks, could you spray the embroidery hoop with gold paint? I don't see why not. That would be beautiful. Go for it. I would do it after you put it into your, do it before you put it into your hoop. Otherwise, you're going to spray your project, and you'll want to be cautious that you don't get any paint on the inside of the, so let me show you. This is I haven't done it. This is what I would think. So it's going to drape over this part. So you don't need to spray this at all. You would only want to spray this, and you want to really only get paint on the outside and the top. You would want to avoid having paint here. Otherwise, when you go to put it over your fabric, it might actually, some of the paint might rub off at the edges onto your fabric, possibly. So at least try one before you invest into doing it. But I think that you can totally paint the embroidery hoop, because that would be really cute. Angie says, I noticed that you're not using the auto press. Is there a reason for that? No, there's no reason for that. It's just bigger, and we have a lot of things out here. It's also bigger, and when we make videos, it's large, and sometimes it's hard to fit under our camera. And also, more people have the easy press. So it's easier to talk about the easy press because then I am relating to you and what you have. I love the Cricut Auto Press. Love it, love it, love it. It's just a little bit bigger and it's a little bit harder to show, especially in videos like this. But there's no reason at all. Auto Press is an awesome, awesome heat press. I love how it auto opens. Beatrice says, can you sublimate on plastic? There are some sublimation blanks that are made of plastic with a special coating. Not a lot, but there are some. We have actually a section on it in the sublimation cookbook. This, by the way, would be an awesome thing to get if you're planning to do, if you're like a new, this book is awesome. And so there are some, it's kind of a, like I wouldn't just, yeah, you can buy some on like Amazon, but just to like use random plastic, no. And we actually, Greg and I tried doing a project from plastic that we cut on our Glowforge to see if we could sublimate onto it, and it didn't work. However, as I recall, there's 2 different kinds of plastic that you cut on the Glowforge, and we were just using the wrong kind. I don't know, that's a whole thing. So there might be a way. Okay, Heather says, I would love more information on how you made the AI designs. Will there be a class on that at some point? There's no need for a class because I have already created a whole workshop on it. It's called AI Art Design, and it is so cool. AI Art, for those who don't know what AI stands for, AI is for artificial intelligence, and all of us have the ability to create amazing projects, and I can teach you how to do it to get the results you want and do it ethically too, so that you're not stealing anyone's work, because that's very important. If you're interested in the workshop, I pulled it up on my screen here. It's at jennifermaker.com/AI-art. It's actually on sale if you're getting the VIP pass. If you scroll down on your screen when you go to get the Maker Academy weekend VIP pass, it's actually on sale on that screen if you want to get it. Some of you already got it that way. Anyways, this has been a really, really super popular workshop. You get to learn how to make amazing art. Your mind will be blown by what you can do. So what is so cool about it, I'm going to geek out for a minute. I mean, all of these were made through AI art. We put in the right prompts to get these super cute embroidery designs. So when you know how to do it, which we teach you, you can then, if you want an embroidery design of, I don't know, what's a good example? Maybe you want a squirrel holding a little acorn, with some little bit of holly or something. I don't even know what. I'm trying to make stuff up. You can have that. Right? So you can have like whatever you can imagine and in whatever basically style you want. So super cool. It's very exciting. And we're really in the early days of what AI can do. And I am 100% on board with it. We actually use AI in many ways. So that I love it. I think it is a great tool, and it's going to advance all of us forward, especially in crafting. Okay. I have a couple more minutes. Jan says, will the new Cricut iron-on vinyl work? If you mean the smart iron-on, yes, you can totally use smart iron-on. Connie says, I don't have a sublimation printer. How do sublimation pens work? Pens work by putting them into your Cricut, and then it'll draw your design. And then if you want, you can also color in by hand or something like that. I have a bunch of different tutorials on how to use the infusible ink pens. I made some really cute mugs with them, a tote bag, a t-shirt, lots of things. So you can use the infusible ink pens. Once you've drawn your design, you can then transfer it onto something. So you could, for example, draw this design right here with an infusible ink pen. Now it won't fill in, right? And it won't be white. It'll be a different color, but you can still get this cute little mitten design, and then you can transfer it to an ornament if you would like to try that. Okay. Terry says, do you get lifetime access to the AI workshop when you sign up? Yes, you do. All of my courses, workshops, events, everything, you keep access to it. There's no limits. There's no time limits. I mean, and when I say lifetime, I mean for the lifetime of the thing, not necessarily my lifetime or your lifetime. Who knows what we'll be doing in oh no, 50 years, right? I don't mean to imply that. It's the lifetime of the product, but haven't limited or turned off anything. Everyone who got stuff back in 2017, which is the year that I first started offering and teaching, everyone still has access. Okay, I think that I have gotten to the end, but if I didn't get the chance to answer your question, no worries. Just go ask in our Cricut Crafters group at jennifermaker.com/cricketcrafters. We are always happy to help you out, as is our awesome community. Our next workshop is the Infinity card, and it's coming up at the top of the hour. You can learn more about it and look over its supply list at jennifermaker.com/531. So let's take a really quick break before we head into our next workshop. So get some air, have a stretch, get some more caffeine. I might need a little bit more caffeine. And we will begin on the hour right here in the same live stream. So I'll see you back here in just a little bit. Hello everyone, Jennifer Maker here again. Let's learn how to make super cool infinity cards. Let me show you what these look like. This is an infinity card. If you've never seen these before, they fold like this, and then like this, and then like this, and like this, and they'll just keep folding and opening to reveal your awesome, I'm gonna hold this up a little more, your awesome photos. Would these be the most amazing cards to give this year? This is our dogs. This is Hunter and Chloe on their dog couch. Here's me in my craft room. Here's Greg and I, and there's teenage Alexa and baby Alexa, and then there's Greg and I. And we're going to show you how to make these. Infinity cards may look like magic, may look super intimidating to make, but they're actually neither. What they are, though, is a really clever way to turn cardstock into a card that opens, right? And opens to infinity. It is so cool. When I first saw these online, I knew I had to make my own. But like I do, I wanted to make it a little bit extra. And that's why I'm going to show you how to use your own photos. That's right. I am going to show you how to use photos, whatever that we're going to resize them and everything. It's going to be part of the design because, of course, you don't want to make a card with my dogs on it. Plus, how to add a cute message using the Cricut pen. This is all done with the Cricut pen and the drawing feature. I will break down the whole process for you into simple, easy steps, and you will have an amazing card as a result. The Cricut and its print then cut feature makes this so easy. You can find the complete supply list for this project at jennifermaker.com/531. I put the link up here on the screen. But let me show you exactly what you need to make an infinity card. You may even have most of it on hand already because it isn't like a lot of things, right? So let me just get the supplies out of the dream box to show you. Here it is. See? Not so bad. Some of our projects, in fact, the next project, I think is the next one, required 2 totes, but this one is nice and easy. All right, got our tools, our material list, and our cardstock. So let's talk about everything. And I will switch my camera so that you can see everything. All right, so first, the paper. And I don't mean this, so we're going to use this for the envelope, but the paper. All right, so you want high quality 8.5 by 11 inch 65-pound white cardstock. That's basically it. It's a nice, simple project. So I've already printed some out here, right? So but this is all it is. Just 65-pound white cardstock. All right, so for adhesives, I recommend ultra thin permanent double-sided tape, which I found is really the easiest way to put all the pieces together. Okay, so this is just double-sided tape. For tools, you're going to need, and this is important, a color printer. An inkjet printer is what we're using. If you have a laser printer, that's probably fine too. It doesn't even have to be color. It could be black and white if you want black and white photos, but we're used a color printer. I use an HP Envy, but you could use an Epson EcoTank. Any inkjet printer will do, anything at all. I also recommend a brayer for getting our paper adhered to our mat really well, and an extra large scraper like this. This is an extra large scraper. You'll also want a pair of scissors, a craft knife, and a weeding tool. I also recommend, since we're using a craft knife, a self-healing mat, just like I have right here on my desk, which you always see. This is a mat that I can use with my craft tool and I won't hurt it, right? It'll heal itself after I cut. All right, so those are the tools. We set all these things over here by the Cricut. And then, of course, for the Cricut itself, this is a print then cut project. So we're going to want a Cricut that will do print then cut. So that is any of the makers, any of the explorers, the Cricut Venture, or the Cricut Joy Extra. So you could use basically everything except the Cricut, the original Cricut Joy. And you can make this card by hand, of course. There's actually a PDF here. Let me show you. If you do have a Joy, we actually have a way for you to make it by hand. But the print then cut feature on a Cricut will save you lots and lots of time. So in the tutorial, you'll see that I'm using the Cricut Maker 3. But again, you can use the original Maker, the Explorer 3, the Explorer Air 2, the original Explorer, the Venture, or the Joy Extra, because they all have the print then cut feature. Along with that, you'll need the basic fine point blade that comes in your Cricut, right? And a single scoring tool or a scoring stylus and a green standard grip machine mat. And then to write on your card, you can use any compatible pen or marker. Do I have my pen here? I don't think so. Looking to see if I missed it. I don't see it here. Sorry. It just needs to be compatible though with your machine. So if you use if you use the Maker, the Explorer, or the Venture, you can use those. All those pens are interchangeable. But if you use the Cricut Joy Extra, you want to make sure you use a Cricut Joy pen because it's a different size. I loved the shine that I got from this one. Here it is. So you see this one right here? It's got a little bit of a shine on it. You see how let's get it to focus so that you can actually see it. There we go. You see how it's got a little shine on it? This one, it was a metallic pen, a Cricut metallic pen. And then since we're using the print then cut process, I highly recommend that you calibrate your Cricut before you start. You can find all the steps in my video tutorial at jennifermaker.com/calibration so that you can get it all ready to go. And I think that is mostly it. I have lots of pieces here. You can make an envelope, so that's all in there. You may also want to have a bone folder for folding the edges, but the scraper tool also works just fine. All right, I think then we would just need the free template. All right, so again, all of the files for for Maker Academy Weekend are free for everyone to download and use, and also they remain free. They'll remain in my library indefinitely so that they're there for you to use. All right, so the design space process for this project is very detailed. So I strongly recommend you watch the full tutorial video before starting your card. If you have a free ticket and not the VIP pass, please take notes as you go along. It's going to help you a lot. And it's going to also help you make sense of the layout, the photo requirements, the editing process, and how it all comes together. So this is a low material project, but it's got a lot more details on the design side. I'm essentially going to teach you how to design your own infinity card. Now, I've also included printable layouts and references to help you picture everything, and that's all inside the zip file that you download. My template has some holiday greetings and wintry images drawn on it, but you can use tips from my Cricut writing fonts tutorial to adjust them. I'll show you how, but there's also more information over at jennifermaker.com/Cricut writing fonts. So let me show you where to find the infinity card files and then how to use them to make your very own infinity card. Step 1, get my free infinity card files. First, download my infinity card design at jennifermaker.com/531. You can either download right from that link by saving the project or download from my entire free design collection. To find it, look for libraries in the red bar at the top, and then click either get a password if you don't yet have one, or click enter the library. Search the page for design number 531 and click the link to download the designs. The download folder includes PDFs that you can use to cut by hand, and DXF or SVG files for use with the cutting machine. In the SVG folder, there are files for the card and the envelope. I'm going to show you how to use the SVG file to make the card using a Cricut cutting machine. Now I'm going to use the Cricut Maker 3, but you can also use the original Maker, the Explorer 3, Explorer Air 2, Explorer, Venture, or the Joy Extra for this project. This project has rather a lot of moving pieces, so we've created a printable reference layout and direction sheets for you. You'll find them in the PDF folder. We'll use these throughout the tutorial, so it's a good idea to print them if you're able. And if you haven't used the Print Then Cut feature recently, you'll also want to calibrate your Cricut cutting machine using my helpful video over at jennifermaker.com/calibration. To begin, upload the SVG to Cricut Design Space and add it to your canvas. Now, if you're not sure how to do this, go to jennifermaker.com/svgs to learn how to unzip and upload SVG files. Step 2, prepare your Infinity card and photos. Here's how the template looks on my canvas. You can zoom out to see all of the design by clicking on the minus sign on the lower left. There are 4 6x6-inch square frames. Before you do anything, drag the group design several inches away from the left and top sides of the canvas. You're going to need space to adjust photos without moving the design once we start, or some important lines won't be in the right spots. Click the Ungroup icon to work with the group layers separately. I've grouped the basic cut lines, the intended score lines, and text or design elements that will have the Cricut draw. The frames and some other shapes are separate. In the Layers panel, find the group with text and snowflakes. Select it and change the operation at the top to Draw and Pen. Click the square next to the Operation drop-down menu to change the color and pen type. I'm using a 1.0 copper metallic marker, but you can try other options, of course. If you want to customize the text, check the reference layout to see how the different sections of writing show up together. Pick an easy one to edit at first, like calm on the second frame. Click the text icon and type in a new word. I'll use peace. Then use the font menu to change it to JM Tall so it matches the other words. You can download the JM Tall free font at jennifermaker.com/437. Change the operation to pen and make the color match the other elements. Then drag the new word near the old one. Resize it so it fits within the rectangle. Then drag it on top of the old word to make sure it will fit. In the Layers panel, click the word that you're replacing and use the eye icon to hide it in case you need it in the future. Then hold your Shift key to select the group of text and icon layers and the new word. Click Group, and now they'll stay together. Next, select the group of 8 lines and use the Operation menu to change them to Score. The group of lines that go through the middle of each frame should stay as basic cuts. Now for the photos. Pick high-resolution JPEGs or PNGs that will fit in the shapes on the gray pieces. Grab your layout template too, in case you want to take notes or see more about how the images will move. They don't have to be exactly the right sizes I'll mention. I want you to focus more on the images where the subject will fit within the open areas and still look good. We'll be editing them a bit, don't worry. Now frame number 1 on the top left needs a 4 3/4-inch square image where the focus is in the center slice, since we'll be cutting it into a circle. I have one of Greg and me in mind, so I'll click Upload and then Upload Image and find it. Pick Complex since we'll use Print Then Cut and we want all the details, and then click Continue. Click Apply and Continue on the next screen. Then select Print Then Cut Image and click Upload. Select it and click Add to Canvas. In frame number 2, in the top right, it has a 3-inch wide and 4-inch long spot, so it's a portrait shape. I'll use the same steps to upload another photo of Greg and me. For frame number 3 on the bottom right, there are 3 spots. There are 2 1¼ inch square openings and a 3-inch wide 2¼ inch tall middle spot. That one will fold open when the card is finished. I'll pick 2 cute photos of Alexa for the small ones, and one of myself that will hopefully look like I'm welcoming you to open up the card. That's the idea. For frame number 4 at the bottom left, it looks complex, but I'll show you how it works. Even though there are 2 spots, you just need one photo that is about 5¼ inches wide and 4 inches tall, or fits within that. I'll use this favorite one I have of Hunter and Chloe on our couch. Now your photos might come in all different sizes, and that's okay. Move them to an open canvas area on the right side and zoom out to see everything. I want you to hide all the score lines, cut lines, and text and snowflakes using the eye icons for each group in the Layers panel so the shapes are easier to see. Just the white bases, the gray frame layers, and the photos should remain. Resizing the photos to be close to the correct size before moving them over to the frames is a bit easier. So make sure the lock icon stays closed so the photo's proportions don't change. You can either change dimensions using the width or height boxes up here at the top, or by clicking and dragging a corner to make the image bigger or smaller. Even if you have the lock icon closed, clicking and dragging a flat edge of the bounding box will change the proportions, so stick to the corners. I'll start with frame number 1, the top left, so use the Layers panel to hide the other frame parts and the photos for now. Move the square image into the circle. In the Layers panel, drag the photo down so it's below the gray piece with a circle cut out. The photos should be sandwiched between the gray and their white layers. Use the Layers panel to make sure you have the correct image layer selected and adjust the placement and size if needed. If you want to make sure the writing doesn't cover too much, just unhide that group to check and then hide it again. Now, it's okay if some of the image goes off the side of the card. I'll show you how to fix it. Hold the Shift key on your keyboard to select the gray frame and the photo only in the Layers panel, and then click Slice. Delete the extra slice bits until you are left with just the photo in the shape of a circle. If there are extra photo bits left outside the frame, use the Shapes icon to add a free square to the canvas. Duplicate and resize the shapes if needed to cover the image pieces beyond the circle-shaped photo. Hold the Shift key to select a shape and the excess image and click Slice. Now delete all sliced bits and then repeat for any other sections until you have just the shaped photo. Now hold the Shift key again to select the white base layer and your photo and click Flatten. In the Layers panel, it will now say Print Then Cut. That is perfect. Hide your result and then unhide the 2 layers for frame 2 and the portrait photo. Now, just like the first frame, move the photo over the shape and then drag it under the correct gray object in the Layers panel and adjust it if you need to. Hold the Shift key to select the photo and the gray piece in the Layers panel and then click Slice. Delete the extra parts and slice away any extra pieces outside of the shape. Then select both the shaped image and the white square and click Flatten. Ta-da! Hide frame 2 and unhide frame 3's layers on the bottom right. The template layout shows that the 2 small photos will actually be visible with the one on frame 2. Alexa's photos will look cute with our portrait, so I'll unhide her photos. Then I'll put one in each corner, resize them, and then move them under the gray layer. One at a time, slice the small photos with the gray shape, but don't delete the main piece while cleaning up the results. Now unhide the wide photo, position it in the center frame opening, and resize it. It's okay if it doesn't completely fill the frame. Make sure it's under the gray piece and then slice them. Delete all of the extra slice bits and remember to remove extra pieces with the shape trick if you have any. Then select all 3 photos and the white square and click Flatten. Hide frame 3 and unhide frame 4 on the bottom left and its photo. Watch me do this one before trying it. According to the layout template, this photo needs to be upside down and cut in half. Select the photo and type 180 into the rotate field to flip it upside down. Resize it if you need to. I'll change the height to 4. Drag it under the gray layer so it's easier to see what's happening next. What now looks like the bottom of the photo will go in the top frame opening. Drag the photo so the bottom edge is even with the bottom of the top opening and center the subject left to right. Hold the Shift key to select the frame with the photo and click Slice. Do not delete any of the slice bits just yet. Select the photo and then use the down arrow so you can see it below the frame. Don't move it side to side at all. It is still in one piece, but it has a thin slice through the middle. Zoom in to see that and a similar gray line. The sides might be sliced too. Use the up arrow to move the photo so the top half is in the lower frame. Slightly move the photo up or down with your arrow keys so the thin white section matches the thin gray line at the bottom as close as possible. Again, it's okay to not totally fill the frame. Zoom back out and select the photo and the frame, and then click Slice. Again, do not delete any of the slice bits just yet. The photo should still be in one piece. Hold the Shift key and move it down using the arrow key so it's not touching the frame. Use the Shapes icon to add a free rectangle to the canvas, then resize it so it covers the bottom section of the photo halves. Zoom in to confirm the rectangle doesn't overlap the top half. Hold the Shift key to select the photo and the rectangle and click Slice. Delete the gray rectangle only. The photo is now in 2 layers. Now delete all extra bits, including the original large gray piece. Use your arrow keys to put the photo pieces in their respective frame openings, making sure the sides are aligned. Use your up and down keys to get the shaped photos very close to the top and bottom edges of the white square. Then, just to be sure, select the white square and the bottom photo, then again click Align and Align Bottom. Then select the white square with the top photo and pick Align Top. Finally, select both the photo pieces and use Center horizontally. Hold the Shift key to select the white square with both photo pieces and click Flatten. Now unhide everything so we can finish up. Drag the grouped Basic Cut and Score layers to the top of the Layers panel. Then move the flattened layers below the grouped Draw layers. If you don't want to use some of the text or drawn elements, you can delete that layer, but I'll just keep everything. And ungroup all the layers. Now, one by one, drag a bounding box over a white square to select all layers associated with that area. If your dimensions look much larger than 6 by 6 inches, you probably have something from another base square selected, so try again. And then click Attach. You should now have 4 groups of attached layers. Make sure each frame has the flattened image on white, 2 score lines, a basic cut line, text or drawings that are set to draw, and everything is attached. If you've got all this, then your Infinity card is ready to cut. But please first save it to keep all of your hard work safe. Step 3, print then cut your cards. Select the correct machine and click Make It. On the Prepare screen, make sure the material size is set to 8.5 by 11 inches and check that all of your mats look right. The black lines are registration marks to help with precise cutting. And then click Continue. On the Make screen, click Send to Printer. In the Printer Setup window, make sure Add Bleed isn't on and turn on the toggle for Use System dialog, and then press Print. Now minimize your Cricut window so you can see the system dialog box that appears behind it. Remember, we're going to add the writing with the Cricut, so it's not visible yet. So you'll want to set the paper to an option similar to Photo Premium Matte. On my printer, I'm going to use brochure matte paper. Print with the best quality on 8.5 by 11 inch 65-pound white cardstock. Print all 4 pages using the same steps and let them dry to avoid any smudges. Here are how mine look. Step 4, cut and draw your infinity card pages. Back in Cricut Design Space, select the first mat. Set the material to light cardstock with more pressure. Check the Remember Material Settings box to save yourself some time. Place your cardstock so it matches like the screen preview onto a green standard grip machine mat, and be sure to also use a brayer to make sure it's fully adhered. Now, depending on your Cricut cutting machine, you can use the single scoring wheel or the scoring stylus for the score lines. I'm going to use the Cricut Maker 3, so I'm going to click on Edit Tools, and I'm going to change it from the default of the scoring wheel over to the scoring stylus because I think it's easier, and then click Apply. Always test your pens and markers on a scrap piece of paper before you use them in your Cricut to make sure the ink is flowing well, and follow the screen prompts to put your tools into the correct clamp. Then load your mat into the machine and press the flashing button to begin cutting and drawing. Now watch the screen and swap tools when prompted. When it's time to draw, be sure to put the cap on the end of the marker so you don't lose it. When everything is finished, unload your mat, flip it over onto your work surface, and gently roll it back to release the cardstock. If the cardstock doesn't fully adhere at first, rotate the mat and roll it back in the opposite direction to loosen all the corners and edges without ripping or curling. And then repeat for each printed page. If you run into any issues cutting your cardstock, check out my Cricut tips and tricks for cleaner cuts at jennifermaker.com/blades. Step 5, assemble your infinity card. Place your card pieces to match the layout reference sheet. Note which pieces are the front and which pieces are the back. Next, use your scraper or a bone folder to gently fold the score lines about 90 degrees up. If you didn't make any score lines, just fold it like I am here. And then flip and fold in the other direction. Flip once more so the right side is face up, and slightly smooth the creases so the piece lays flat. And then repeat for all card pieces. Now, one set at a time, look at the corresponding top and bottom pieces that make a set, like the left pieces for the circle image and the frame with 3 photos. Add double-sided tape to the back of one card piece. Trim any tape over the edges. Remove the tape's backing. The weeding tool can help here. Make sure both pieces face the right direction and align the corners precisely, and then press them together. Use a brayer to gently smooth the pieces, and repeat for the others. Flip all the pieces so the back sides face up. Using the layout reference and the horizontal score lines on the side pieces as guides, add strips of double-sided tape to the center pieces' 4 corners. I made a square with a strip in the middle in each corner. Remove the tape backing and align the corner of the side pieces and stick them together. Use a brayer to smooth again. And carefully repeat with the remaining corners. And there's the front of your card. Now, using the score lines and the layout reference sheet as guides, open the front pages outward like a book. Fold the sides back to reveal the second frame. Gently but firmly fold on the vertical score lines, smoothing out the creases. Now, from the center horizontal cut line, gently grab the top and bottom page edges. Fold them back on the horizontal score lines to reveal the third frame. Gently but firmly crease and smooth flat the card. Now open on the vertical center cut lines, again like a book, and fold the page flaps back to reveal the fourth frame. Go through the steps a few times to smooth any creases and make sure the photos all line up. The testing is the fun part. To make the envelope, add its SVG to a fresh canvas and follow the steps from my DIY envelope tutorial at jennifermaker.com/373. And that's it. You have finished your beautiful infinity card. Aren't these so cool? They're so much fun to make and give for special occasions, and testing them is my favorite part. They're so fun to play with. Cards really are one of my favorite things to make with a Cricut. They don't take a ton of materials, and the customization options are literally endless. I have lots and lots of card tutorials on my blog, jennifermaker.com, including this winter pop-up card. Let me show you. It's actually got lights. So here's the front. Here's the front. This is a project from last year, I think. And it's got a light, so I got to get the light in the right spot. So here's the front, and then it pops up like this. Can you see that? It's so pretty. I'm going to hold that up. So this is just one of many projects that we have. And cards, by the way, not to mention, they're a great way to make a thoughtful gift without paying retail prices for cards that are way less personal and way less fun. And because you can't send a card without an envelope, be sure to check out that envelope tutorial at jennifermaker.com/373. We have a bunch of free envelopes, a whole bunch of them actually, and you can totally make this. Now, I also saw several comments in the chat while you were watching about how this seems complicated. I said there was something for everyone, right? So there's things for beginners, intermediate, and advanced. There's things for people who like sublimation crafting or like to make cards, paper crafting. There's something for everyone. This one might not be right for you, but maybe the next one is. So just keep that in mind. Also, if you like this and you want to do it but feel confused, it is possible to do. It is 100% possible to do. You might need to work up to it, but now you have an awesome goal to shoot for. All right, I see you have questions for me, so I am going to head on over to my questions list, and I'm going to do my best to answer as many as I can. All right, Kristen says, are there snowflakes done with the pen as well? They totally are. A gold marker is what we use to do all of our all of these things. I'll just switch over to here so you can see things better. Gold Cricut metallic marker for all of our snowflakes and our words and everything. Cindy says, well, 12 by 12 inch white cardstock work. If your printer can handle that, or you're willing to cut it down, sure, totally. But keep in mind that we're printing our photos onto these, so it needs to go through your printer, and not all printers can accommodate 12 by 12 inch cardstock, right? Most can't, in fact. Do you print fit to page or shrink to page? I get so confused on that part. Honestly, you should actually not do either one. You need to print at the exact size that you designed it for. So you want to turn off fit to page or shrink to page, and you want to do it at 100%. Otherwise, it's going to size down or something, and that will throw everything off. Okay, so you want to avoid fit or shrink. Let's see here. Linda says, do you need to calibrate every time you use print then cut, or just need to make sure that you have done it in the past? Your experience will vary. I find that if it's been a while since I did print and cut, I need to calibrate. But if I've been doing a bunch of projects and it hasn't been very long, then I'm just fine. So not every single time you go, no. But if it's been like a month, then yes, you probably need to do it. Teresa says, how many pictures can you have for one infinity card? If you use my design, and there's many other designs out there, I did not invent the infinity card, you can have up to 6 photos. So, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a dog. They're upside down. I had them all laid out in the right order. Donna says, does the Cricut draw differently if you don't change what kind of pen you're using? No, it doesn't actually draw any differently. There's only one exception, and that is if you start with like a Cricut Joy pen and then you switch your design to cut or draw on the Maker or Explorer. Those pens are different. The pens are different than the ones on the Makers and Explorers. So it will need you to select a pen that is compatible with the Maker and Explorer and vice versa. But otherwise, if you put in Fine Pen, put you into Design Space, but then you actually put a marker into your machine, it doesn't know. It has no idea what it does. It doesn't change anything about it. So I usually don't even bother to say what the size is. The only reason to really do that is so that you can preview how it's going to look in Cricut Design Space, as far as I'm concerned. Chris Dio says, where can I purchase the AI course? That's at jennifermaker.com/AI-art. Shane and Jill says, do you have a tutorial on envelopes that you can use to make these cards? I do. I mentioned it already, but yes, we have a tutorial and free designs for cards. And that is over at jennifermaker.com/how-to-make-an-envelope. You can also just search for it in Jennifer Maker envelope, and it'll just pop right up for you. And let's see here. Sherry says, what happens if flatten is not an option? What did I do wrong? If you can't get flatten to come up, you probably have a layer that can't be flattened, like let's say a pen or score layer or something like that. Honestly, the best thing in that case is to go back, undo, and follow the directions again to make sure you didn't miss an important step. Lorna says, I was wondering if I don't have a printer, could I just cut the card and glue on photos cut to size? So you could, but I think that you would find it challenging depending on what your photos are made on. So because there's a lot of folding going on. So do you see how these have folds right here? Most photo paper, like old photos, traditional photos on that really nice photo paper, they're not going to fold like this very easily. This is a cardstock thing, right? Photo paper is a lot thicker. It's got like a special coating on it. It's going to crease funny when you fold it. So you can try it, but you're not going to get the same results. Just keep that in mind. Cindy says, can you use color photos? If you have a color printer, of course. We were just going for a certain aesthetic. Normally I like color photos, but we're just going for like something classy and elegant. Yes, you can use color photos, 100%. Casey says, can I cut my 12 by 12 inch sheet down to 8.5 by 11 inches if I don't have any size? Absolutely. I recommend you do it on a trimmer though, so that you get nice straight edges so that it doesn't jam in your printer. I have a Cricut Joy Extra. How do you suggest handling score lines? Because of course the Cricut Joy Extra can do print and cut, but it doesn't have a scoring tool. So my suggestion would be to leave out any score lines completely. Don't put in dashed lines instead. That's going to be weird on your photos. And instead just fold by hand instead. We don't have to have score lines to score, right? We can fold by hand instead. That's the way people without machines do scoring. They fold by hand. Cindy says, where do I find the layout reference sheet? Which looks like this. It is included in the PDF that is in your zip file. This is what it looks like. So I actually have a couple here. These are in the PDF that you download from, I think this is the right link here, jennifermaker.com/531. That will lead you to the design. And inside that zip folder, you will see a PDF folder, and this is among it, this reference sheet to help you. I know that there's a lot going on here, but it's really cool that we can make this. Nancy says, why did we use double-sided tape over glue? Where's my double-sided tape? Here it is. It's really less messy when it comes to a project like this, right? Now, normally I really like glue, and it does hold better, but the way that this project is attached and folds, I really felt that the double-sided tape was a better option. You, of course, can try glue if you'd like, but I thought this worked really well. It's also important to note that when we're gluing anything that's been printed, like on an inkjet is water-soluble ink. So if you get glue on your inkjet, it will run, right? Because water, the glue that we normally use is water-based, right? So inkjet prints and water-soluble glue don't really go together so well, but the tape, on the other hand, is just awesome. And Anna Marie says, what is the number for the pop-up card, please? Yes, the pop-up card. The pop-up card, I have another one right here that says Winter Wonderland. This pop-up card, this one's got lights too. I know it's very bright. It's very bright at my desk. You can't really see that well. It is number, I lost it. I think it was 465. It was on my screen and then I just missed it. Sorry. I think it's 465. Let me just double check that. It would be at jennifermaker.465 if I'm correct. I don't want to tell you wrong. Nope, that's not it. 416. It's 416. Thank you, Lori. So it's at jennifermaker.com/416. And yes. So 416 is in the library. Okay. Elizabeth asks, what is the shape trick? So the shape trick involves using a shape to help slice or remove portions of really anything that you want to slice or, trim down or anything in Cricut Design Space. So we're using it to shape our images into shapes that fit into our infinity card design. Sandy says, can I use printer paper or is it too heavy? Printer paper would probably be too light, not too heavy. Printer paper is lighter weight than cardstock is. So cardstock, let me show you a piece of that we're using here. I think I got a blank piece back here. Nope, not there. Back here, I'm looking for well, whatever. I'll just show you one like this. Okay, so I like to show that it's like, do you see how this moves? If you take a piece of printer paper, it'll move a lot more than this. So cardstock is actually pretty stiff. So you want to use cardstock in order to, otherwise it's not going to feel like a card. It's going to feel like some stacks of printer paper and it's going to be really flimsy and it's not going to have the desired effect. Terry asks, what if you don't want to do this with photos? What else can you do? Well, you could make some awesome AI art. That would be really cool. People usually use photos, but not always. You could just write out words and then have all of those. You could write messages where you can only read the messages when it's on that panel. You could just have shapes that form pictures. You can really do anything. You really can. In fact, you should just go to Google and type in an infinity card and you'll see all sorts of wonderful inspirations for infinity cards. Again, I did not invent this idea. I don't invent the vast majority of ideas that we have. As I said in my video earlier during Lunch and Learn, all of our project ideas come from you. You make requests and we do our best to fulfill them. So for the most part, all of our ideas are things that are out there. You're just looking for Jennifer Maker to help you teach them. All right, Patricia, and I have actually it's just about time. So it looks like there were a few extra questions I didn't get to, but I mostly got to them. But if I didn't get the chance to answer your question, don't worry. Just go to our Cricut Crafters group. It is at jennifermaker.com/CricutCrafters. Leave your question there, and we in our community are always happy to help you out. All right, our next workshop, which is going to be easier than this one, is our personalized holiday stockings, and it is coming up at the top of the hour. You could learn more about it and check out the supply list over at jennifermaker.com/519. All right. And I also saw a question about, will you be able to replay this video? And yes, you can actually go backward right now and rewatch that whole workshop and take notes if you want, or you can wait until later and rewatch the whole video from the start or move back and forward, all of it. You have 24 hours to rewatch this workshop. Unless you have a VIP pass. If you have a VIP pass, then you have the lifetime of it to rewatch it. Okay, thank you all. So let's take a short break and we'll head into the next workshop. So go get yourself a drink. I got my caffeine, so I'm good to go for the rest of the day. Stretch your legs. We've been sitting down for a while, and we will start back on the hour right here in the same stream. I will see you soon. Hello everyone, Jennifer Maker here. Let's learn how to make personalized holiday stockings. Let me show you how cool these are. So we have several different types here. We've got your standard stockings that we're going to do in infusible ink. We have a step up. We've got burlap, which you can do in infusible ink. This is infusible ink, or sublimation. That's this one. And then we've got fancy sequin stockings that you can again do with sublimation or infusible ink. Aren't these fun? And I want to note that these are like the most basic stockings. And most of these stockings that are like this, this is just a Dollar Tree sort of stocking. But this felt is almost always polyester felt. So you can sublimate or put infusible ink on these, right? Even these fuzzy ones. This is the furry type. This is infusible ink on here. Isn't that cool? So every Christmas morning, Greg, Alexa, and I all dig into our stockings together. It's one of our favorite traditions of the holidays. Does anyone else do stockings? We've been doing stockings since I was a little kid. My family is German, and so we would always celebrate on Christmas Eve with stockings. So creating my own holiday decorations is another tradition that has brought me a lot of personal joy, and I love sharing my ideas with you every year. Like these stockings that I personalize with sublimation and infusible ink transfer sheets. Now you can find the complete supply list for this project at jennifermaker.com/519, but let me show you exactly what you need to make your own personalized stockings. I'm just going to get my supplies from the dream box. We actually have 2 totes for this one. We have this one that's got our stockings themselves, our materials list. So I'll put that here. And then this one is filled with infusible ink. Because again, this is a project we can do with either Cricut infusible ink or sublimation. Okay. But it's nice. It's actually a pretty low supply. You don't need a ton of stuff to do this. Alrighty. So let's set all of these here and get everything out. Let me show you all of the stuff. Here's our materials list. And I'll just set our infusible ink right up here. Okay. Here's our prints. All right, and okay, so let me really quick, and I'm going to show you how this works, and we're going to start with our stockings. So I've got a few different types of stockings here. I've got burlap, linter, that's what we call this fuzzy stuff, is linter, felt, and even sequins. And these sequins are the kind that you can go like this with, and you actually sublimate on this white part. Aren't these cool? I love these. I like to play with them. All right. You know that the cool sequin fabrics that do this, so did you even know that you could sublimate on them, right? And then you can flip them back and forth to reveal colors. So this is a green one, but I also have, I think this is this one green too, but they come in other colors. I think I've seen red, and I've seen silver, and I've seen gold, but it depends on which ones you get, right? But you can sublimate on them, which is so cool. All right. And then we'll either sublimate or use Cricut infusible ink on all of these. So that means this is accessible to everybody, whether you have a sublimation printer or not. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to compare the results at the end, and I'll reveal which type of stocking I like to sublimate the best. Okay, so this is also a comparison to help you choose the right one. Now, for sublimation stockings, you're going to need a sublimation printer. My printer is right up here. It's back in my dream box with compatible sublimation ink, and we're using 8.5 by 11 inch paper for this, so it's pretty much accessible no matter what size you have. For infusible ink stockings, you're going to need infusible ink transfer sheets, and I have used all of these colors here. to make this design right here. Isn't it pretty? This is super classy, I think. So red, teal, tangerine, yellow, black, and I think red, green, tangerine, yellow, teal, and black. Green, whatever. Here they are. Oh. You can get infusible ink transfer sheets in lots of colors. So these are the colors I used. You could do whatever you wanted. But if you wanted to replicate my design, that's what I used. And then a weeding tool will make it a little easier to prepare the designs. We're going to be doing some infusible ink. It's not really layering, but as you can see, there's different colors, and I'm going to teach you the technique to do this. Now, for both materials, you're going to need a heat press, and someone earlier had asked about the Cricut AutoPress. We got the Cricut AutoPress out to show you. So we're using the AutoPress for this project. You'll also want some white butcher paper, some 12 by 12 inch white cardstock, a brayer, my brayer, some scissors, a ruler. Ruler is important for measuring. Always measure, right? Remember, we measure twice, cut once. A lint roller to clean off our stockings before we press them, and then a fan for ventilation or an open window so that you're not breathing in the fumes. Now, I did use the Cricut. I used the awesome Cricut Maker 3 to cut out my infusible ink. Let me show you what that looks like. So here, oh my goodness, we have so many things over here. This is our sublimation paper and our ink. I'll set these back here. So I used the amazing Cricut Maker 3 cutting machine to create these. But you could really use any Cricut for this. So you can use the Joy, even the original Joy, the Joy Extra, anything will cut Cricut infusible ink. And these are pretty small pieces, right? These are pretty small pieces. So everything will work. Any Cricut will work for cutting the infusible ink. And I think that's about it. So now you just need the designs so that you can make these if you would like to. So I am going to show you where to get the designs, and then I'm going to show you how to both use the infusible ink and the sublimation ink, and then we're going to compare the results to see what worked the best. Ready? Let's do it. Print sublimation on a burlap stocking. Step 1, prepare your sublimation designs. Let's get the birds PNG for print sublimation. Open Google Docs in the Google Chrome web browser. I prefer to use the browser over the app since mobile devices can't work with printer profiles and other helpful features. Google Docs is free, but you will need a free Google account to use it. Visit the Google Docs website for more information. Then click on Blank to open a new document. Go to the File menu and select Page Setup. Change your margins to 0 and your paper size to match your sublimation paper size. Mine is 8.5 inches by 11 inches. Next, go to the Insert menu. Select Image, then select Upload from Computer. Locate the sublimation design you want to use. It's probably in your Downloads folder, and click Open. I'll use the birds in a tree PNG design. Measure your stocking so you can resize the image to fit. I'll use this burlap stocking with a cuff. The narrow part is roughly 6.5 inches wide. The foot at the bottom is about 12 inches wide, and measuring from the cuff edge to the bottom is about 11 inches. The cuff is 7.5 inches wide by 5 inches tall. I want to put my birds on the main stocking area. To resize the file in Google Docs, right-click the image, then select Image Options. Make sure the Lock Aspect Ratio box is unchecked, and change the width or height field to fit your design area. I'll make mine 7 inches tall and about 8.5 inches wide. Even though that's wider than the narrow part of the stocking, it is designed to fit with the widest lower part of the image near the bottom of the stocking. We need the design to fit well on the page, so select it, then click the Wrap text icon. Now you can click and drag the image anywhere on your page. Cool, huh? I recommend putting your design in the center of your page so it won't get cut off at the edges, and you'll have plenty of space for cutting or tearing its edges. We'll cover that in a little bit. To add a name or phrase for the cuff, click Insert in the top menu. Select Drawing and New. Click the text box icon. Click and release your cursor in the drawing area to create a text box. Type your text, then choose your font, size, and color. You may have to click More Fonts in the font drop-down to see all of your options. I'll choose Elsie Swash Caps Bold, and I'll change the size to 72 and the color to red. You can choose whatever font or color you like. Click Save and Close. To make sure the designs print perfectly, click on your text and choose Wrap Text in front of text. You can now reposition your text anywhere on your page to complete the design. I'm going to transfer them separately, so I'll leave space to cut the designs apart. Make sure your text is sized to fit the right spot too. If you need to change anything about your text, select it and click Edit. Print the design following my sublimation design printing tutorial at jennifermaker.com/sublimation print method. If you added personalization for the stocking, you can cut the sublimation paper to separate the name from the design. Scissors work fine, but the edge can leave an indent in the fabric. So I recommend tearing the paper close to the design, which creates a more gradual transition. This is called feathering. Step 2, press your design. Now remember, sublimating creates pretty strong fumes, so please open a window or set up a fan to improve your ventilation whenever you work with sublimation or infusible ink. I'm going to check my sublimation cookbook for the pressing details, and there it is. I'll set my heat press to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 205 degrees Celsius, and the time to 60 seconds. These settings work for my burlap stocking, but check the sublimation cookbook for your combination of tools and materials. Place a clean sheet of white cardstock on the heat pad to protect it from excess ink. Now is a great time to lint roll your stocking to remove any pet hairs or debris, loose fibers, just anything that might interfere with a nice, clean transfer. Preheat your stocking to remove any moisture and wrinkles. You may need to do this for a few seconds in 2 parts if your stocking is on the larger side. Cut a piece of white cardstock to the width of your stocking and place it inside, under the area you'll apply your design. We'll decorate the cuff separately later. Next, place the bird sublimation print face down on the stocking. I put mine about 2 inches down from the cuff, but you can apply yours wherever you like. Tape it in place with a few pieces of heat-resistant tape. Place a clean sheet of white butcher paper on top to cover the whole project, and press it at 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 205 degrees Celsius for 60 seconds. When the time is up, remove the butcher paper. Let the design sit for at least 10 seconds to cool down. Don't be tempted to peek or move your stocking yet, because the design is still sublimating until it cools off. When it's cool, remove the tape and transfer paper to reveal the design. How darling are these little birds? Let's make it even better with some personalization. You'll want to add a new sheet of white cardstock under the cuff, and you can remove the piece from inside the stocking. Find the middle of the cuff and center the name on that point, face down, and tape it firmly with heat-resistant tape. Position your stocking on the heat pad so that the bottom decorated part hangs off the edge while the cuff remains on the pad. This is important as we don't want to reactivate the sublimation ink that we've already applied. Cover the cuff with a clean sheet of butcher paper and press at 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 205 degrees Celsius for 60 seconds. Remove the butcher paper and let the stocking rest for at least 10 seconds before removing the tape and transfer sheet. And now it's complete. Project number 2, infusible ink on a burlap stocking. Step 1, prepare and customize your SVG. Now let's try an infusible ink design. In Cricut Design Space, add the bird SVG, not the PNG, but the SVG, to your canvas. This is what the design will look like. If the design already fits your stocking, great. Click on the Make It button and cut the design as is. If you do need to resize it, do that now before cutting it on your Cricut. Keep the lock icon closed so it keeps its proportions. Now let's add a name. Click on the text icon and type it in. Next, choose a font and adjust the letter spacing and size as you like it until you're happy with how it looks. For this stocking, I'm using the font Trans City. I purchased it from a font website, so it's under the Systems section in my font menu. If you'd like to purchase this font too, you'll find it at jennifermaker.com/transcityfont. Now I'll change the font size. 72 is a good size for my stocking, but make sure your design will fit because all fonts and stockings are different. You could also add the color box to change the color if you'd like. I'll use the red shown under Material Colors so I can cut it out of the same infusible ink transfer sheet that I'll use for the bird's design. And you are now ready to cut your infusible ink sheets. Step 2. Cut your infusible ink sheets. Make sure the correct machine is selected and click on Make It. If you're prompted, choose your mat size and then click Confirm. On the Prepare screen, be sure to mirror each mat of your design. All infusible ink designs should be mirrored or your design will come out backward on your stocking, and nobody wants that. Just select each mat on the left and click the toggle below it so it turns green. When you're done mirroring your mats, click back on the first mat and then click Continue. On the Material screen, select Infusible Ink Transfer Sheets for your material and set the pressure to More. Be sure to wash and dry your hands immediately before handling infusible ink. Any oils from your hands can mess up the transfer. Place your first infusible ink transfer sheet shiny side down on your green standard grip machine mat and use your brayer to adhere it really well. And then load your mat and begin cutting. When it's all done, unload your mat, flip it over onto your work surface and roll it carefully away from the infusible ink transfer sheet. This method helps to avoid curling or bending of your transfer sheet. Prepare and cut the other sheets using the same process. Trim the designs away from the extra material, leaving some room around the larger shape's edges to add in the smaller pieces. Next, weed the extra infusible ink that you don't want to transfer to your stocking. Roll and gently bend the transfer sheet up and down along the edges of the design until they begin to lift from the carrier sheet. You might hear like cracking noises, and that's totally normal. And then just remove the excess with your fingers or with a weeding tool. Now let's layer the colors onto the bird shapes. Peel off shapes from the other sheets and set them onto the bird, fitting them together like puzzle pieces. Place the pieces color side up so the surfaces and orientations match. The sticky liner will keep the color shapes in place, and if you need to, check the Cricut Design Space canvas for reference. Now flip your design over so you can see how it will look on your stocking. Check for any missing bits that you forgot to weed or set. Step 3. Press your design. Now let's press our infusible ink design onto our stocking. Remember, this process produces pretty strong fumes, so please open a window or set up a fan to improve your ventilation. Set your heat press to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 205 degrees Celsius and the time to 60 seconds. Place clean white cardstock on the pressing pad to protect it from any excess ink, and use a lint roller to remove any extra fibers or debris. Then preheat the stocking in sections. Place clean white cardstock inside the stocking under the main design area. Place the infusible ink design side down on the stocking with the carrier sheet side up. Keep it in place with a few pieces of heat-resistant tape. Place a sheet of white butcher paper on top to cover the whole design and press for 60 seconds. When the time is up, Remove the butcher paper and let the design cool so the ink sets. When it's all cool, remove the tape and transfer sheet to reveal the design. Look at how cute our birds turned out. Now, let's personalize it. Remove the cardstock from the stocking and add a new piece inside the cuff. Center your name face down in the middle of the cuff and tape it in place with heat-resistant tape. Place a new sheet of cardstock on the pressing area. Move the stocking from the heat pad so that the bottom part hangs off the edge while the cuff remains on the pad. We don't want to reactivate the sublimation ink that we've already applied. Cover the cuff with a clean sheet of butcher paper and press at 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 205 degrees Celsius for 60 seconds. Then remove the butcher paper. When it's cool, remove the tape and transfer sheet to reveal the personalized design. Bonus stocking tests. There are so many stockings on the market, I had to try some more. Sequin stocking with cardinal sublimation. Surprisingly, the setup for sequin stockings is really similar to the burlap stockings. I'll show you how to sublimate with my cardinal design. Preheat your easy press to 385 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius, or your Cricut Auto Press to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 204 degrees Celsius. Place a new clean sheet of white cardstock on the pressing pad. Push all the sequins in the same direction so that only the white ones are showing. Designs won't transfer to non-white sequins, so take your time and make sure every sequin is turned over. Lint roll in the direction of the sequins to remove any lint, dust, pet hair, or other debris. Place your stocking on the pressing pad and cover it with a clean sheet of white butcher paper to protect the sequins. Press it for 10 seconds to remove any moisture. Now cut a piece of white cardstock the width of your stocking and place it inside. And then place your design ink side down on the stocking and tape it in place with heat-resistant tape. Cover it with butcher paper and press for 45 seconds if you're using an easy press or 60 seconds if you're using an auto press. When the time is up, you can remove the butcher paper and let the stocking cool. Then remove the print and the tape. How cool is that? Look at how cute and festive it is. Linter stocking with sublimation name on cuff. A linter stocking has looser fibers, so the transfer will look best with just a little preparation. Place a clean sheet of cardstock on the pressing pad. Next, lint roll the stocking so that the fibers are all facing the same direction. This is super important or your image may turn out weird. And then preheat to 385 degrees Fahrenheit or 196 degrees Celsius if you have an easy press, or 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 204 degrees Celsius if you have an auto press. And press for 10 seconds to remove any moisture. Cut a new clean piece of white cardstock and place it under the cuff. Center your name face down in the middle of the cuff and tape it in place with heat-resistant tape. Arrange the stocking on the heat pad so the main part of the stocking hangs off while the cuff remains on the pad. Lay down a sheet of butcher paper and press your stocking cuff with an easy press for 45 seconds or with an auto press for 50 seconds. Remove the butcher paper and let the stocking rest for at least 10 seconds before removing the tape and transfer sheet. And now it's complete. Felt stocking with sublimation name on cuff. For our felt stocking, we'll need a slightly gentler transfer method. Place a clean sheet of white cardstock on your pressing pad. Lint roll the stocking to remove any extra lint or debris. Preheat the stocking at 385 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius if you have an easy press, or 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 204 degrees Celsius if you have an auto press, and press for 10 seconds to remove any moisture. Again, you'll need to cut a piece of cardstock to fit inside the cuff. Tape your name face down with heat-resistant tape and cover it with butcher paper. Now press for 45 seconds with an easy press or 50 seconds with an auto press. Let it cool and then remove the paper. And voila! Step 4, show it off. Look at our gorgeous stockings. I can't pick a favorite. Really, I really love them all. Which one do you like the best? I think they turned out really great. These sweet little birds are just the cutest, aren't they? And I love how the personalization becomes a part of the fabric, right? Or a part of the sequins. Where's my sequin one? Right? And everyone has their own special stocking with their name on it. You could make these as a set for your family or personalized stockings for your pets. Make them to match your decor. Give them as gifts. There's tons of possibilities here. And they'll look so cute hanging up, waiting to be filled with goodies. You can even experiment with other lettering techniques like filling your text with filling your text with a photo like this. This is also a sequin pillow, and you can also color change it after it's sublimated. The color changing part of the sequence does not get affected by the sublimation process. So we have a whole tutorial on this if you would like to learn it. We did it earlier this year, and it's really cool to just put your photo into this text like this. So what did I learn from this project and all of these tests? For starters, burlap definitely yielded the best results. Don't these look fantastic? This is the one with infusible ink. Look at how gorgeous that turned out. It's just really, really classy. This is the one with sublimation ink, right? I love these. It's probably my favorite. The sequins, on the other hand, were tricky because they did flip out of place and the sublimation will only take to the white side. Still, they are still really cool though, don't you think? I think that it's really neat. And I found that between sublimation and infusible ink, sublimation prints were easier to work with than the infusible ink sheets, especially on the cuffs, right? And I also there's one important thing, and some of you may have already noticed this, that the sequin stockings that are on our materials list, they are out of stock currently and have been for a little while. So you might be tempted to try another brand, but I want you to see what the other brand looks like that is available on Amazon at least, so that you are aware. This is the other brand. And I want you to see the difference in quality between these two. And you can decide for yourself what you want to do. Right? You see? So this is the one that we're recommending that's out of stock. This is another one that we tested that just didn't have the same results. You can see how it just did not, the sequins are just not as uniform and they're kind of all over the place. You can get them and do them if you want, but the ones in our materials list, work the best. We always test our materials and we always want to recommend the best. But because it's out of stock, I know you might be tempted to get the other ones. So just keep that in mind. You might want to wait till they come back into stock. All right, so I see there's questions. So let's move to the questions so I can help you out. All right, I'm going to go to the top of the list. All right, Carol Ann says, is all burlap except sublimation ink? And no, these are specifically burlap sublimation stockings. They have a coating on them. So burlap can be all sorts of materials. It can be, goodness, burlap is usually like a pretty rough material, honestly. So usually it's a natural material, in fact, traditionally. So these are specifically sublimation friendly burlap stockings. So that's important. Everything either should say it's for sublimation or it should say it's mostly polyester. 65% or higher is my recommendation. Sabrina says, can you make your own stockings out of fabric and then sublimate with infusible ink? Absolutely. Make your own stockings. Just make sure that you're picking fabrics that are mostly polyester for the best results. 100%. Stockings are really easy. In fact, we have a stocking pattern in the library. We did it for Holiday Maker Fest 4 years ago. Holiday Maker Fest was the first name of our annual event like this. So basically, I guess it would have been our first one. It was really like 3 years ago, but our first one. Teresa says, do you need the printer to use the transfer sheets? You do not. No, all you need is a Cricut or another way to cut them, right? Transfer sheets do not require a printer. This is what the transfer sheets look like. This is a design where we've cut it out already and it's all ready to go. And it's just, you just cut it out on your cutting machine. You could even cut it out with scissors or a craft knife if you don't have a cutting machine. You do not need a sublimation printer to use Cricut infusible ink. That's the awesome thing about this. So that makes this project accessible to so many people. Anyone can sublimate if you're using Cricut infusible ink. Patricia says, how long can you keep infusible ink? The general rule is 2 years. You want to keep it in its box. It comes in like a black plastic thing to keep it away from light, because sublimation light could, like UV light, can affect it. And 2 years. That said, I have some that's more than 2 years old and it's fine. But 2 years, as I believe, is the standard answer if we ask Cricut how long it lasts. And that's for on the infusible ink sheets. Once it's transferred, it lasts as long as what you put it onto. So it stays there, as long as you're going to have a stocking, there's going to be ink on it. It doesn't wash out or anything like that. Brenda says, can you use iron-on vinyl for this? You can use iron-on vinyl. This pattern here, which is the little one, this is a SVG. So you could just cut this design out of iron-on vinyl and make that instead. If you're not into infusible ink or sublimation, we still have an SVG, and then you can use iron-on vinyl. So just keep in mind that the directions will be a little different because it's iron-on vinyl, not, infusible ink, but you could still do it, totally. What printer am I using? I have the Epson, right here at least, I have the Epson EcoTank 2800. You can actually convert just about any Epson EcoTank to sublimation. I have videos that show you how to do this. It's really easy. Just be sure that you put sublimation ink in and don't put the ink in that comes in the box. The Epson EcoTank is sold as a regular inkjet printer, and the ink that comes with it will not be sublimation ink, right? So you have to convert it. It's not really a big deal, but you want to change it. But watch my videos on it first. But you can use any Epson EcoTank. You can use an Epson F170 or F570. You can use a Sawgrass 500 or 1000. There's even a new sublimation printer out, the Brother sublimation printer. I have it in a box over there, and I'm hoping to unbox it and set it up with you in December so we can test it out. Brenda says, I answered this question already. Can you use HTV instead of infusible ink? And you totally can. You just will, press it like HTV, not like infusible ink, but you certainly can. Teresa asks, can I use an easy press? Yes. You don't have to use a Cricut Auto Press for sublimation. You can use an easy press. You can use a traditional clamshell press. Those are the ones I recommend. You don't want to use a household iron, though, for infusible ink or sublimation ink. Rebecca says, what happens if you don't have a heat press like this? If you don't have the fancy one, just use an easy press. An easy press, too, they go on deal all the time on Amazon. Get one on deal. That'll totally do the trick. Kenyan Mom says, can you use the paper for a second lighter transfer? That's a great question, but no, you can't. Most all of the ink is transferred in that very first press. And if you try it again, you might see a hint of a design, but you won't see much of one. So don't try it again. Vicky says, why do you have to use butcher paper on top? Could you use the cardstock like you did on the bottom? So butcher paper is thinner, and that's why I recommend it on top. Often by the time we get up to that top layer, there's more going on, right? So it works better. Also, it's less expensive, and there's no reason to put cardstock on top. So I like to have cardstock as the bottom layer because it's nice and rigid. It makes a really sturdy surface, really flat surface to put our projects on. That said, some people use butcher paper as their bottom layer and their top layer, right? So it's really kind of up to you. You can use what works best for you, so long as you're using a material that isn't going to trap moisture or transfer something to your project. So no wax paper, avoid parchment paper, nothing with a coating, also no Teflon sheets, because Teflon sheets will trap moisture. So we recommend cardstock for your bottom layer and white uncoated butcher paper for your top layer. It works the best. You could mix and match them, but like I said, butcher paper does cost less than cardstock, and these things do add up. I actually will often, when I'm got a project and I'm just in the zone, I will actually use butcher paper for both my bottom and my top layer. Not always, but a lot of times I will. Pam says, do you need a sublimation sequin stocking, or will any sequin stocking do? I don't know if all sequins are going to accept sublimation ink or not. And I would hate for you to try and have it not work. So I would recommend only a sequin stocking that says it's sublimation ready. So we know that it's got a coating on it that will accept sublimation ink. This chick says, could you use vinyl gloves to protect the infusible ink sheets? Totally, you can. If you don't want to worry about getting any dirt or hand oils on your infusible ink sheets, you can totally put gloves on. That said, I've never actually ever had an issue. Cricket says that we should do that, but it's never happened to me. I've never actually messed up my infusible ink because I forgot to wash my hands, but because Cricket suggests that, and I want to make sure I'm teaching you properly, I tell you to do it too, just so you know. So you could not do it, and then maybe you'll never have a problem, or maybe one day you will. Who knows? Mary Lee says, why do you have to use a new piece of cardstock? It's because the cardstock can absorb, and we want it to absorb, any ink that might blow out while we're pressing. And if you take that same piece of cardstock and use it on your project again, that ink can transfer again to your project. So you don't want to do that. Sometimes if you're positive there's no ink on it, you can use it again. I will admit I have reused cardstock when I'm sure no ink blew out to it. But if you see any little hint of ink, just don't do it. It's not worth risking ruining your awesome stocking or your other sublimation blank. T. Connell says, do the sequins under the image still move? If you mean, will they move while you're pressing? Typically not. Once you've got them into place, they will stay in place, right? Once you got them all in the right direction, when you press them, they're not really going to move a lot. If you're asking if they will continue to move after you're all done pressing, then yes. See? They all still can be moved, and you can move them all right back, and your design is all right there. See? Isn't that cool? I got one that's there that's not, doesn't want to turn over, but you get the idea. So yes, they will all, it does not affect the sublimation, the sequin and the cool way that it changes itself at all. April says, can you put the infusible ink birds on the felt or the furry style stockings? So these are red, right? Now, if they were white, I would say yes, but infusible ink and sublimation ink, which is the same thing basically, is transparent. So, and a transparent color on a color like red, it'll just be like a ghost of a color, because it'll all just look like dark red or purplish red or whatever, right? So it won't look like this where you can see the individual colors. It'll just be shades of red, right? Because it's transparent ink. So typically when you do infusible ink and sublimation ink, you want a white or light surface like we use with these burlap stockings, or like the sequins. This is white, right? That's why we say to sublimate on the white side, not on the green side. If you sublimate on the green side, you won't see anything. Maybe you'll see a little hint of it, but you really won't see anything. Also, I don't know if they have any sublimation coating on them. So T. Connell says, could you put another image on the reverse of the sequence? So again, first of all, it's too dark. This is a pretty dark green, right? And also, I don't know if it would accept sublimation ink. So I would say no, you cannot. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I don't think so. Lisa says, where can I find the cardinal design? Where's my cardinal design? I have a printout of it right here. Pretty cardinal. Oh, and then of course, it's also right here on the table. The cardinal design and the bird design are in the design file, which is over at jennifermaker.com/519. Let me fix this. This is our last workshop. 519. There we go. So you see on the screen right here, jennifermaker.com/519 is where you'll want to go to get the pretty cardinal and the birds. And remember, the birds will come in two variations. This is the infusible ink variation, and this is the sublimation print variation. Let's see here. Pam says, does the sublimation only stick to the white because it is sublimation material, or only white due to the dark color? And if you mean the sequence, it is both a it sticks because there's a coating of there's some kind of polymer on it. The sequence might just come that way. I don't know because I didn't make this, but it sticks to this because there is a polymer coating for the sublimation ink to like sink into, and we're able to see it because it's white, right? If we could have, it could be that all sequins have a polymer coating on it. I don't recall right now if that's true. It's possible we could sublimate on the screen side, but because it's not white, we wouldn't even see it. The ink would be there, but it wouldn't be visible. So it's the combination of being a light color and having a sublimation coating on it, or having polymers or a polyester that allows the sublimation ink to work. And that's true of infusible ink as well. Gwynnie says, where did you get the Elsie Swash Caps font? It is free when you use Google Docs. So it's right inside Google Docs. Libby says, when you make your own stockings, do you usually cut the fabric on your Cricut? You can, but like if you were making this one, this is a little bit large for a Cricut. It is possible, but I mean, honestly, I probably would just cut this with like a rotary blade or a pair of scissors. But you certainly could. If you're going to make a bunch, you're going to be happier doing it with a rotary cutter than with your Cricut. When I did my stockings for Holiday Maker Fest 3 years ago, I did use the Cricut to make those. They were mini stockings. So yes, you certainly can. You just want to make sure it's going to fit on your mat. Laura says, can I use iron-on vinyl on the fuzzy stockings, the linter stockings? So yes, you could. I have actually done this before. You're going to want to, brush it, make sure all the little furs are going in the same direction. I would brush it down because, gravity will want to move it down. And just keep in mind, it's probably not going to hold up well in the wash, right? It's because it's really going to be sticking to the little fur rather than like the fabric underneath. So it's not going to be something super durable, but do stockings need to be? We use them once a year, it's probably fine. So yes, you can do that. And I have put iron-on vinyl up here, and I have put it down here before. Patty says, which is the most cost effective, vinyl or infusible ink? I would say that heat transfer vinyl is less expensive than Cricut infusible ink. I feel like when I priced it out, that is true. You can get big rolls of iron-on vinyl, and that's definitely less expensive. However, if you ask me about the cost difference between infusible ink and heat transfer vinyl and sublimation, I will tell you that I think sublimation is actually the cheapest of the three. You can get so many prints on your printer with the ink, the sublimation ink. It is like once you've got the printer and the ink, it is a really cost-effective hobby, in my opinion. cost effective, we know, inexpensive, once you're set up, that is. Okay, we are done. And I also, looks like I got to all the questions. So yay, awesome. If I didn't get to all your questions, remember you can come ask your question in our Cricut Crafters group that is at jennifermaker.com/cricketcrafters. We also have a sublimation group that's at jennifermaker.com/sublimation group. In either one or both, we're always happy to help you out and we would love to see you there. Both are awesome groups filled with inspiration and helpful people. Okay, so next up, we're going to get together one last time today for some evening encouragement and prizes. So it's coming up at the top of the hour. And then tomorrow we'll start with another check-in in the morning and have prizes. And then our first workshop tomorrow will be etching on slate. That one is going to be awesome. All right, so I'm going to put my little timer on. Stick around for some encouragement. We've seen a lot of projects today. You probably have a lot of things swirling around in your head right now, and I have some advice for you on that. And then we have a bunch of prizes to give away. So I'll see you in about, top of the hour. I'll see you then. Hello, everybody. What a day, right? We have accomplished so many fantastic projects together. In fact, we've done so much that you might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed at the moment. I am feeling a little overwhelmed, I will admit. Well, guess what? You are not alone. Feeling overwhelmed is totally normal, especially for creative people like us. There's so many awesome things to make, and it can be quite a challenge to pick just one and focus on it. It really can. It's so easy to get overwhelmed with all the things that we need to do as crafters, don't you think? When we start our crafting journey, all the materials and the machines can seem a bit puzzling. Once we've mastered those, we dive into the intricate techniques like weeding and transferring vinyl, which can be a little tricky. And then even after completing our projects, the constant stream of new and exciting things can make us feeling swamped. Can we say sublimation? It's like a shiny new thing, right? To put it into perspective, I've been working on sharing my knowledge and experience with my team so they can do more on their own. I recently made a list of everything involved in a big project, and you won't believe it. The list had over 100 steps. Just writing it all down made me feel overwhelmed all over again. And that last thing I said right there is a clue to how we can calm the overwhelm. When you look at the big picture, all the stuff that you need to do, it is overwhelming. Crafting is not for the faint-hearted. If you try to consider all the things that are necessary to achieve your crafting goals, you're probably going to get overwhelmed. It's just a fact. So I want to share a powerful message with you for tonight's evening encouragement, one that could transform the way you approach your tasks and your projects. Are you ready? It's time to hit the pause button on that constant mental chatter, the one that's filled with all of the things that you need to do, the never-ending to-do list, and the seemingly insurmountable project checklist. Yes, you heard me right. It's time to stop dwelling on all of those steps, tasks, and details because, believe it or not, it's doing you more harm than good. You see, we often fall into the trap of overthinking, and while it might seem like a productive strategy, it can become a paralyzing force. When we constantly remind ourselves of the enormity of our tasks, all the things we have to do, when we obsess over every step, we're unintentionally creating a mental roadblock. It becomes a really heavy burden that saps our energy, dampens our enthusiasm, and it holds us back from taking that crucial first step. Imagine being a painter standing before a vast blank canvas, envisioning the masterpiece they want to create. If that artist fixates on every brushstroke, every color choice, every detail all at once, it will be overwhelming. That canvas that once held endless possibilities now just seems like an impenetrable wall of stress and anxiety, doesn't it? Just like, ugh, forget that. So let's break free from this cycle of mental overload. Instead of allowing ourselves to be suffocated by the big picture, let's zoom in and focus on just one brushstroke at a time. Let's take that initial step, no matter how small it may seem, and trust that it will lead us on a journey of progress and accomplishment. Remember, it's that first brushstroke that transforms a canvas into a work of art. The first step that sets us on the path to success. Remember this morning I said the longest journey in the world still starts with one step. By freeing ourselves from that mental clutter of countless tasks, we give ourselves the space to breathe, to create, and to thrive. Let me share an approach that I think could help you conquer the overwhelm and transform the way that you approach your own tasks and projects. It's a simple but really effective strategy that I personally use. I call it my one thing. So here's how it works. Every morning when you wake up, you choose just one thing, your one thing, to focus on for the day. This isn't just any task. It's something that's genuinely important to you, possibly a bit challenging, and undeniably beneficial in moving you closer to your goals. The key is to make sure it's something that you can reasonably complete in a single day. If it seems too big, you have to break it down into smaller, more manageable components. Imagine the power of this approach. Instead of drowning in a sea of tasks and to-do lists, you now have one clear objective for the day. No more mental clutter, no more feeling overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of your workload. Just one concrete goal. For instance, on a day dedicated to project creation, my one thing might be to design the next project. Not to cut it, not to assemble it, just design it. It's an achievable task for me, I know, because I've designed things before. And if I can accomplish it by the day's end, then I've propelled my mission with Jennifer Maker forward and I've gained a sense of accomplishment. Now, here's the secret sauce to this. You need to stay focused on your one thing. Ideally, you dive into it immediately, free from distractions like emails, social media, and phone calls. Of course, in our not so ideal world, you might need to get up a little bit earlier or tackle your morning routine first. I get it. The important thing is to create a bubble of focused attention around your one thing. Eliminate distractions, close extra browser tabs, silence your phone or move it to another room. Turn off the TV or music if they divert your focus. Keep it tight and laser focused. Consider setting goals and rewards to stay on track too. And now here is your challenge. Choose your one thing right now, something that will genuinely propel you forward. Is it too big for one day? No worries, just break it down until it's achievable today. Remove all distractions and dive into that one task with unwavering focus. If you encounter roadblocks, stay calm. Every issue is solvable. Every issue is solvable, okay? Identify the problem, assess if it needs immediate attention or can wait, and then decide accordingly. Staying calm and confident in your ability to overcome hurdles is the key to keeping overwhelm at bay. Once you've completed your one thing for the day, you can confidently move on to the next task, knowing that you've got this. By tackling one thing at a time, you will cut through the overwhelm and start making significant progress. But remember, the magic lies in picking one project and staying committed to it until completion, or until it no longer gives you joy. We are crafting after all. But this is a surefire way to prevent overwhelm. So if you're feeling swamped and uncertain about where to start, here's my advice. Choose a project that sparks your interest from Maker Academy Weekend. Watch a replay video, one of our workshop replays. Gather the supplies and focus on completing that one project. Don't start anything new. Don't get sidetracked. Concentrate on one thing at a time. And please don't be like, okay, I'm going to do this project by tomorrow. That's just too much. Don't do that to yourself. Break it down into those small steps, okay? And concentrate on just one thing at a time, one step at a time. This is the very approach that I follow, and it's incredibly effective. Look at all that we're doing. I am like the, poster child of the one thing. In a world full of possibilities, narrowing your focus down to a single project can keep the overwhelm at bay. So start with the one thing and watch as your productivity soars, your sense of accomplishment grows, and your creative journey becomes all the more enjoyable. Remember, success starts with that one bold step. Let me know in the chat what your one thing is. I would love to know. You, of course, can let me know if you have any other questions or if you need some help or encouragement. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat and see if I have any questions. I just want to help you. Also, my phone keeps dinging, and I'm going to ask Greg to check my phone just in case it's a problem with Alexa or something. My phone's right here, Greg. It keeps going off. Would you just check it to make sure? I stayed focused though, didn't I? I don't know. It's probably nothing. It's probably some text or something. But he's going to check for me. All right. I am looking. So what is your one thing? Charlene says she's going to work on the infinity card. That's great. Be sure to break it down. Your first step might be finding and choosing your photos. That would be a good first step. Maybe even just a photo, right? Finding all the photos could be overwhelming in itself. Diane says, my challenge is to get my files organized. That is a big task, so please break that down into smaller tasks. Sherry says, I plan on setting up the sublimation printer while watching your videos. That is an awesome step. Very, very cool. Brenda says, the lanterns will be my first project. That is a great first project. I also see Veronica saying infinity card. Sue says she's going to gather the supplies for her project. And I see another comment about candy holders and napkin rings. Awesome. So really, really, I cannot stress this. What I told you, this not just like something. This is what I do every morning. Some people like to do it the night before, but I actually do it as soon as I wake up. And I'm still laying in bed. Before I ever get out of bed, I ask myself, what do I want to accomplish today that will move me forward towards my big goals, right? And so, I think about what all of those things are, and I focus on one thing, and I usually do it really quickly, or else I can be like, okay, but then there's this, and then there's this, oh, and I got to do this, and that overwhelms me. So like anyone who knows me knows, I'm a pretty focused person. And so that means if you ask me a question that's not the thing I'm working on, sometimes you just get like a blank stare from me. Like, I have no idea. Alrighty, and thank you for all the comments. I'm glad that helped you. Okay, so we have giveaways. I also saw some questions. I saw someone said they're having a problem finding our links, our giveaway links, our supplies. I would like to show you really quickly what you're looking for, okay? What you want to do is you want to go to this link I'm putting up on the screen right now, makeracademy.com/weekend-links. If you go to this link, it will take you to, and I'm going to show you my web browser. It will take you to this page. Let me move this little box up here so it's not covering anything. Just a second. I'll move this up a little bit right here. There we go. So it brings you to this page with all these little colorful buttons on it. This will take you to all of the places. This is where you can get a free ticket if you don't have one. Oops, you can't see my cursor there. Right here, this blue button, free ticket, our event guide, the VIP pass. The VIP pass will be available all throughout the event. It's $20 off until Monday, and then on Monday it goes up to its regular price, but it continues to be available. You can still get the VIP pass from last year, the year before, and the year before, right? So all of it it'll always be there. It just gets more expensive. This is answers to frequently asked questions. The orange button is our event schedule, and this is also where you'll find the replays. There was a question on that, so we'll go to that in a minute. All the supply lists are under the yellow button. The pink button is where you can contact us for help and support. The blue button is where we have the weekend guide with the I Spy game and other things, of course, our printable notebook, all those good things. The dark red button is how to enter our giveaways and see what we're giving away. And the green button is a good place to go when you're not sure where the live is. Going to that button will show you the latest live video that we have. All right, so I want to go into the event schedule because I heard someone ask about where do I see replays. So I'm going to click on the orange button, and that takes us to the Maker Academy Weekend 2023 event schedule and replays. And we're on Thursday right now, right? And if you look at Thursday, you'll see that there is now a replay link after our morning sessions. So you can click on this link and it will take you to the spot in the video where we had our workshop. After this, our afternoon stream is finished, you will also be able to see the replay links for our afternoon sessions. So when we finish tonight, those links will appear here at the end. And remember, you have 24 hours to watch the replays if you have a free ticket, or for a lifetime if you have the VIP pass. So hopefully so that you can find the replays so you can replay things. I'm looking to see if anyone else has any questions. Okay. Can I slow the chat down? I see a question on that. No. Now, last night I did attempt to limit our chat to only our channel subscribers because I know because there were over 6,000 people in our kickoff party last night, and that's a lot of people. However, those who didn't know how to subscribe to our channel or for whatever reason were frustrated because they couldn't comment. So I removed that restriction today, and but that also means more people can comment. So, you know, we just have to do our best. Remember, you can always scroll up and down in the chat. Always, you can just move up and down if you need to. And also, if the chat bothers you, you can just turn it off. You can close it. So if it's just too much and too distracting, because I totally get that. It's a lot to focus on, the chat and the video. Totally. I see a question from Grandma's Hugabugs, which is the super cutest name ever. After you print a sublimation sheet, how long can you wait to use it? Once you print it, you can basically store it forever, so long as you keep it somewhere dry and dark. So like put it in a file folder, put it into a like someplace that's not going to get like damp or whatever. You know, sublimation ink does not like moisture. But otherwise, as long as you keep it dry and dark, you can use it indefinitely. So go for it. Just keep it somewhere safe. Okay. You guys ready for our giveaways? Oh, there's a question about, are we doing Merry Maker Mingle this year? We are planning to do Merry Maker Mingle again. It'll be like our 5th or 6th year, so we're not going to miss that. And thank you for all the kind comments. I, by the way, read your comments after our videos, so that's my reward. I mentioned that this morning. Photos are a reward, so I actually go back through your comments at the end of the night and to see what you said. So, because it matters a lot to me. That is my thermometer of whether, you know, how I'm doing is what you're saying. All right, let's do some giveaways. I'm going to play our little video. Okay, we have 2 giveaways today. Both are like bundles. The first one is 2 $30 Jennifer Maker scholarships. Sorry, 2 $30 scholarships to Jennifer Maker workshops. So that's a $60 value. So one Jennifer, like there's several here. I have a little sheet to show you if you're not familiar with our workshops. These are some of them. We had 4. These are all of our this year's workshops, actually. Canva Creative. We did the first start of the year, and then we did fonts, where you get to make your own font. And then Mandala Magic, where you learn how to make mandalas. And then the most recent workshop, AI Art Design. All right, so the winners of that is Janet Burgess. The first 4 letters of your email are MCBU. Congratulations, Janet. You are the winner of two Jennifer Maker workshops. You get to pick what you want. Okay, now our next one is actually a bundle. Cricut Joy Extra Bundle. Okay, so in this bundle is the Cricut Joy Extra machine, the light grip mat, the starter tool set, the printable sticker paper, Cricut Joy opaque gel pens. Those are really cool. Some smart iron-on, some smart vinyl, and some transfer tape. And then also a VIP pass to Faux La La, which is an event by one of our guest teachers, Amy Romeo. So this is a super cool bundle. All right. The winner is Susan Belomo. Susan Belomo. Here is your name, and its first 4 letters are SBEL. Congratulations, Susan. We will be contacting all winners by email. Remember this, we're not going to send you a private message or a direct message. And I actually have a couple more gift cards I could give out. Jennifer Maker gift cards. These would be great for getting our ebooks. All right, I have one to give out to Robin Crowning Shield. I think that's it. Robin, COZI is the first 4 letters of your email. Congratulations, Robin. You won a Jennifer Maker gift card. All right, let's do another one. Nomelia Costa. You also get a Jennifer Maker gift card. And I love giving things away. Gail Jeffrey. You are also the winner of a Jennifer Maker gift card. We will contact you by email. Remember that. We know your email address. We know your name. Don't fall for any imposters. So these are our 3 gift card winners. And this is our Cricut Joy Extra winner. Put these all up here like this so we've got them. And here is our scholarship winner. Congratulations, everybody. Remember, we're going to have more. We have so many more giveaways to give out. We'll give out some more in the morning, and then at lunch, and in the evening, and then again on the next day. And then we have grand prizes too. Remember, we're giving away a dream box. Not mine. You get your own dream box. We have a Cricut Maker 3, a Cricut Explorer 3, an AutoPress, sublimation printer, all sorts of wonderful prizes from our guest teachers. So many awesome things. And thank you all for congratulating the winners. I appreciate that. Connie says, what is that awesome pad you have on your desk? This is a Cricut self-healing mat. I have this on my mat, on my desk almost always. You'll see it in a lot of videos. I got it taped down so it doesn't like jiggle when we're doing this, but this is really, it's a self-healing mat so you can cut on it. And it's actually got a grid on the other side, but I don't show this side too much because I'm less of a dark gray girl and more of a pretty teal blue girl. And also, like, it's hard to line up the grid line with the camera and it'll be like off and it just drives me nuts. Like, I like things to be straight. Straight is definitely one of my things. Do we have to be present to enter the prizes? Asked Beulah. No, you do not have to be present to win the prizes. No, you don't have to be here. We know that people have busy schedules. If you're not here, we're still going to email you. But what you do need to do is respond to us in 48 hours. So you should be keeping an eye on your email. And it's, if you're here and paying attention, then you'll know right away that you won and can go check your email. Now, we don't send it that moment, of course. We send it soon, but not right away. But then you know that you won and you can be watching out for it. We just want you to respond within 48 hours because if you don't respond within 48 hours, then we assume that, you kind of signed up and just wandered off. We want our prizes to go to people who actually want them. So, and thank you all for the kind comments. All right, I see a question about, can our lives be replayed? Yes. So as soon as this live finishes today, you'll be able to rewatch it. All the morning's lives are already replayable. So yes, totally. All right, well, I think that we are ready to wrap up. This has been an awesome day. We did really good. No major technical issues. That's great. Yay. Thank you all for being here with me and spending the day with me and the whole Jennifer Maker team. And thank you to everyone who helped me make this day possible today. Remember, I do not work alone. I have a wonderful team behind me supporting me. You've seen them in our chat. You probably interacted with them in email. There are others behind the scenes that you can't see. So thank you to my team. And just thank you for everyone. The chat has been wonderful today. It's awesome. You guys are awesome. Okay, so remember, we're going to be back here tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. I'll start my timer a little early to help you find our video. And we have all sorts of awesome workshops to do tomorrow. Tomorrow, we are doing etching on slate. You're going to love this. Everyone can do this. This is so cool. We're going to do a sewing project. We're going to make some bowl cozies. We're going to do sublimation wind spinners. You can also use infusible ink. And we have another lunch and learn. And then we're doing our winter shadow box, which is over here. It's not lit up, but it's this one right here. And then our fall shadow box, which is this one up here. And our sublimation stickers, which could also be inkjet stickers. But we're going to show you sublimation stickers. And then evening encouragement and prizes. Awesome. Well, I will, and everyone who's got a free ticket or VIP pass will get an email too to help you find our workshops in the morning. And yeah, so everyone have a great night. Go get some designs, cut some things out, work on your one thing. Okay, work on that one thing. It's truly an effective technique. I use it all the time. And I will see everybody bright and early in the morning. Bye.